Now let's go to Anambra. The Anambra State Summit 2023, powered by the Anambra State Investment Promotion and Protection Agency, ANSIPA, hosts today at the International Convention Center, Oka. Arise News now joins the live coverage of the summit. Stay with us.
5 verse 12. We shall go out with peace, let forth with joy. We shall burst into singing a new song, and we shall clap our hands unto you. We commit to your hands. Come and take preeminence of this program. That at the end of this program, oh God, the aim and objective of this program shall be fulfilled by your servant, the servant leader, Mr. Governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo. I pray, oh God, that you help us to develop, help us to progress. Even as I declare this meeting open by the power and anointing bestowed upon me and grace, in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Praise God.
Thank you. Please, you may now be seated. Thank you. Mr. Governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, now it will be my singular honor and privilege to invite a son of the soil of Anambra State. I am talking about a man who is a TV host, events compere, writer and lawyer with over 17 years of experience on international television. He became the youngest host of a presidential debate in the run-up to the 2011 general elections in Nigeria. He has worked extensively with organizations like the World Economic Forum, Global Citizens Campaign, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, a lawyer with degrees from the University of Abuja, the Nigerian Law School, and the American University, Washington, D.C. He currently hosts the biggest TV show in Africa, The Big Brother. Ladies and gentlemen, Ezibongwa Anambra, Ebuka Obi Uchendo. Put your hands together as he comes to take over.
Hello. All right. Thank you very much. Can we give him another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Good morning and welcome to Anambra State. It's my honor to be here with you today. I see the Executive Governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Chukwuma. Can we give him a big round of applause, ladies? Very, very, of course, all protocols and duly observed. I think if we start going through names of protocol here, we're trying to beat the of the judgment delivered yesterday that took over to want to make sure today goes on as fast as possible. I hope everybody had a good night's rest. Hello. I hope we all had a good night's rest. We don't want to repeat the things that we saw on TV yesterday with people trying to nod off when our judgments were being read. Hopefully we can stay awake and enjoy the benefit Investment Summit has to offer us today. I'm a true proud son of Anambra State from Okija, and we are happy to see things like this happening here again in Anambra State. There's been a lot of challenges, of course, but many have won. The light of the nation will start shining again, and I think the time has come. So can we give Anambra State a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? We always say Madu, right? Our human resources in this state is beyond comparison, whether it's with education or business. We are top of the charts in this nation, and we're here starting today to prove that this state will take the lead in rebuilding what Nigeria deserves to be. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a lot of talking and listening to do today, so I'm going to keep mine as short as possible and get the day rolling. I'm going to be calling on someone now who has worked tirelessly to make sure today comes to fruition. He has gone through weeks and months of planning and making sure that all of the continent pays attention solely to Anambra State today and all of the great things that are happening here and that are still to come. The opportunities are limitless, and the potential of this state has not even been scratched yet. But the mere fact that we'll have a formidable leader in the state right now gives a lot of us hope here in hands to start this building process. Ladies and gentlemen, to give us a quick welcome address, tell us a bit of the reason why we're here today. Is someone who has worked tirelessly on this project today. Has been a part of the Anambra story for a few years now. For a very, very young age, he began his public service journey in 2012, I believe, which is about 11 years ago. And at some point in 2016, became the youngest commissioner in Nigeria's history. He's currently the manager of the Anambra State Investment Promotion and Protection Agency. Made sure that this summit has been put together as beautifully as it has. Ladies and gentlemen of ANSIPA, put your hands together for Mark Okoye. Take this one.
Mr. Governor, Mr. Deputy Governor, other Deputy Governors here present, all protocols duly observed. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, fellow participants, both here in Anambra State and globe, very warm and gracious welcome to the inaugural edition of the Anambra State Investment Summit 2023. Undoubtedly, it's the highlight of our calendar year. It is with profound enthusiasm and a resolute sense of purpose that we gather here today, guided by the overarching theme, laying the building blocks for a prosperous, smart megacity. As we find out at the cusp of this historic summit, please allow me to pause for a moment and reflect. This event, conceived under the visionary leadership of our governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, CFR, reflects not merely our dedication to progress, but also unites us in our collective pursuit of a brighter and more prosperous future. Today, the realization of the governor's vision stands before us. Our chosen theme in the building blocks for a prosperous, smart megacity encapsulates our shared aspiration and resonates with the core of our mission. It heralds the dawn of a new era for Anambra State, a future that has boundless opportunities for every one of us. Before we dive into the heart of our discussions, I wish to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the distinguished individuals and esteemed organizations who grace us with their presence today. Your shared vision and testament in this endeavor. The significance of today's summit cannot be overstated. It signifies a pivotal juncture in our journey towards a livable and prosperous smart megacity. One not only thrive as an economic powerhouse, but also uplift the quality of life of every resident in Anambra. Throughout the course of this summit, we shall explore key themes such as the development of industrial parks and especially financing bankable infrastructure projects, addressing the state's power need, promoting and ensuring sustainability of businesses. Our goal is to chart a course that nurtures an economic growth, fosters sustainability, promotes inclusivity, and positions Anambra as our nucleus for innovation and enterprise. I passionately urge each one of you to actively engage in the discussions, forge connections with fellow participants, and seize the wealth of investment opportunities and projects on display. Our collective wisdom and collaborative spirit will be the propeller steering the success of our shared journey. As we embark upon this path together, let me express unwavering confidence in the boundless potential of Anambra State and its enterprising people. With the governor steering and championing the vision, we shall lay the foundation for a prosperous, sustainable, and city, an exemplary model for others to emulate. In closing, I wish to extend my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you for your support, unwavering dedication, and profound commitment to the Governor's vision for a brighter, more prosperous Anambra State. May this summit serve as a catalyst for transformational change and a testament to everything the Anambra stand for. Thank you. Bless us all. Thank you, sir.
Mark. If you know Mark, you know he likes to be very understated. You know, he's doing amazing work. So let's give him another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very, very much for all you're doing. Like I said, we'll have a lot to go through today, so we're going to keep things moving. We'll have a few panels still to come to discuss all of the potential that Anambra State has. But we'll have a few special guests here in the building with us who have come with some goodwill messages to deliver here from their various destinations. First up, I'd like to call on the Executive Governor of Yobe State here, ably represented by the Deputy Governor of Yobe State, Excellency Honorable Idi Barde Gubana, the Wazir in Fune, Deputy of Yobe State. Please give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, as he brings a goodwill message from the beautiful state of
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله الكريم. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Anambra State, Leader, His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Anambra State, other deputies here present, members of the diplomatic corps, the Speaker, Yobe State, Anambra State House Assembly, members of the House Assembly here present, honorable commissioners and members of the Council, Chief Executive, Paratatas, both federal and states, captains of industries, our elders, invited guests, gentlemen, assalamu alaikum. I am here representing my governor who had wanted to be here, but he was assigned by Mr. President to be among the few governors that were at the Supreme Court yesterday. That is why he asked me that I should be here on his behalf. And as the academians said, if you study two strong subjects in the university, The degree award is double honors. I am here on double honors. One, His Excellency, my Governor, understanding our relationship, Anambra State, this is one. Secondly, the Deputy Governor of Anambra State, this is service corps in Yobe State. This is two. The third one is, I'm also an Anambra man. The first for the past 30 years to occur is my Chief Mogolu. He is here. The second person that brought me to Nnewi, where I stayed for almost Beverly Hills, was the late Mr. Chikason. Then the other one is Mr. Ben Njoka from Nnewi. I was in Nemo for 3 days. The last person is Mr. Oke Unweke, who took me to Abagana. So by this, I can proudly say I'm an Anambra man. So His Excellency's speech goes as follows. It is with much delight and sincere appreciations that I stand here to deliver a message of support and encouragement to the government and good people of Anambra State for the giant strides towards opening up the state and its potentials to the world for development of enduring participation and collaborations with the private sector to accelerate industrialization, economic growth. The theme of Anivest, which focuses on laying a strong foundation for prosperous and smart mega cities, is indeed apt and timely, considering the fact that economics of most federating units in Nigeria remain in slow mode due to largely to huge wastages, underutilization of economic potential, lack of good corporate governance, inadequate specific incentives to investors, and yet to be improved enabling business environment, among others. This summit is therefore a proof of implementation of the ease of doing business reforms by Anambra State government in all its ramifications. What shall be expected where a distinguished and renowned economist in person of Professor Charles Soldo in charge. People should not be surprised by this kind of collaboration between the people and government of Anambra and Yobe State, because the subject of this gathering revolves around investments, which is now a seamless phenomenon that has no boundaries. While we common and the investing community in the state for successful hosting of this event, I wish to emphasize that subsequent editions should be sustained within reasonable intervals to facilitate apparatus and reshaping the ways forward. Accordingly, our investment team is here to participate actively in the summit proceedings and the land. But most important, fertile areas of investment collaboration between the two sister states. Yobe State hosts the large livestock and grains markets in the country and sits on vast untapped solid minerals such as iron ore for steel production, gypsum for boards and POP production, trona ores for silica sand, diatomite, kaolin, and limestone, among others. The outreach of Yobians in general college across the country cannot be underestimated. We strongly believe that our cooperation with existing informal undertakings by our people into formal governed by the best practice to mitigate risks, extend outreach beyond present levels, and empower the players with ripple effects on the economies of the two states. Long live Anivas, long live Anambra States, long live Federal Republic of Nigeria. Masalam.
Thank you very much, Executive Governor of Yobe State, our brother from afar. Can we give him another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? And thanks to all our brothers in Anambra who have hosted you over the years, including Chikasin, like you mentioned, who is still here with us. And we're proud to be associated with you. Ladies and gentlemen, another goodwill message from a nation who's very friendly with Nigeria. They have continued to be a part of our story, both in Nigeria as a whole and in Anambra State in particular. So representing the beautiful nation of the People's Republic of China, I'd like to call on the Chinese to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Please put your hands together for His Excellency, Mr. Chu Jianchun. Can we give him a big round of applause as he makes his way up? Just to give us a quick 2-minute goodwill remark. Thank you very much.
Excellency Charles Chukwuma Soludo, my good friends in Nigeria. Good morning, everybody. I would like to stand on the established protocol. I want to share my thoughts this morning, and I'm the Chinese 14th ambassador to Nigeria. 2 years and nearly 6 months in Nigeria. I would like to say to you that I'm very delighted, very happy to live in Nigeria. Today, I bring my colleagues from the business community and Chinese Consul General and General Counsel in Lagos in Abuja. My major purpose to be here, I want to characterize GPS. G here, I want to let you know, express my gratitude to Your Excellency for your care, for your support for Chinese community, especially for Chinese Confucius Institute in Anambra. Yesterday, I visited this very important institution in Anambra. I found a lot of young people are studying Chinese and try to learn Chinese, they get good jobs. And also, I would like to thank you for your support to build a mechanism for Chinese community here. So I bring Chinese company here. And P, I think that is very important today. I would like to tell you that Chinese embassy, Chinese community would like to build a qualified, responsible, accountable partnership. I believe that partnership means interdependent. Every nation, every individual, every company, every institution, we have to be interdependent. For here, I think that is a very important slogan or words: prosperity, execution, collaboration, and also opportunities. And also, I want to share with the support. I think Nigeria and Anambra, I commend Your Excellency. You have the, I use the words, you have your own skill, you have knowledge, you have experience, you have expertise. Most importantly, the wisdom to develop Anambra. So people told me that you are not only the visionary leaders, and also you are taking the lead in developing Nigeria, especially Anambra. And also, I want to let you know, Your Excellency, I support you. Why? Because according to Chinese standard, if you are good politicians, you have to have experience in the federal level and the state level. So I hope that my support for this state's development is of paramount importance. Thank you, thank you. And also, Your Excellency, today I want to tell you, 2 years and 6 months in Nigeria, I would like quickly brief my strategy called 5G GDP strategy for the two nations, including Anambra State. So GDP here, not gross domestic product. GDP is called gross development and progress. The 5G, 5 goals, strategic goals. First, political consonance. Second, economic cooperation. Third, military and security collaboration. Fourth, we are doing globally international affairs coordination. And the last is people-to-people communication. We need this prioritized areas. I try to define the 5I. This is the prioritized areas the two nations can work together. One is infrastructure. Second is ICT, information and communication tech. Third is industry. Everybody believes Nigeria, we have a huge potential and a huge gap between performance and potential to build our industry. The fourth is investment. So here I think that is a very important topic, investment summit. We know without foreign direct investment, we cannot develop our economy. Chinese lesson, Chinese trajectory, and Chinese stories can be shared with Nigeria. The last one is import and export. I support more commodities go to Chinese market because China is #1 consumer market. And this is the prioritized areas. I quickly say we need 5 needed conditions. One is security. Second, structure. I think that I'm not lecturing here, but I know what's the meaning of structure. The third is speed. And the fourth is synergy. The last one is supervision. How can we supervise our cooperation? So this is 5S. This is called the 5 needed condition. And also we have needed guarantee. The first is thought exchange. So today I take your time to share my thought, and also I will learn from you, from your thought. The thought exchange is of paramount importance. 21st century, we really need a new thought to lead us, to guide us, to move forward. And the second T is talent cultivation. Third T is treasure capitalization. We are blessed by God, by whatever Nigeria, we have everything. And how can we capitalize our human resources abundant and also the plentiful natural resources. The fourth T is technology application. I need to say that technology is the first productive force. The last one is tradition transcendency. So this is about 5Gs. Last point I want to make, specifically I want to let you know, the Chinese leader, President Xi, provided the BRI initiative and provided a lot of initiative in FOCAC, and also provide a lot of initiative for the development, security, and the civilization initiative. I think this is the big idea between the two countries. I do hope that the latest the Chinese leaders with African leaders focusing on industrialization, and second, we call it the Enhanced Industrialization Initiative, and second is about the modernization of agriculture. The one is about the talent cultivation cooperation plan. I hope everybody could recognize China, we have specific policies from monetary levels, from the policy levels. We support China, Africa, especially Nigeria. So I ask my colleague as quickly as possible to apply a lot of policy from China to be used in Nigeria. So this one initiative, two plans could guide us in the coming 3-5 years. So I want to thank you again for this opportunity, give me the chance to share my thoughts with you. Especially thank you for the invitation, and also my good friends from UN coordinator representative. You're representing UN system, we support UN system, and also China. We are on the right track to try to build a way to improve the quality of life of the people. I do believe in the coming years, you will see a lot of progress made by China, Nigeria, China. Today, I have no time to share with you all the outcome between the two nations. For example, we have a game changer like a deep sea port. We can build a linkage with the international community. I have no time to share with you the specific outcome, but during the October 1st, the two nations on the same day, China and Nigeria, we are celebrating October 1st for the National Day. At that time, we will share the outcome, the specific outcome from between China and Nigeria. I hope today is not only about lip service or words. I hope that today's meeting is very important for everybody, for action, for deed, and to do good things for the people, to develop Nigeria, especially for Anambra State. I thank you for your patience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Ambassador of China to Nigeria. Let's give him another big round of applause. Thank you very much. We're going to take a few more goodwill. Like I said earlier, please keep them short to 2 minutes, please. When you come up to give a goodwill message, please keep it short. We have a lot to go through today. We know you love Anambra State, but keep it short. Thank you very much. Next up, I'd like to call on the resident coordinator here in Nigeria from the United Nations. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to Mr. Matthias Schmale. Okay, sorry, you need help. No problem.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Anambra State, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, allow me to stand on existing protocol. I'm not sure I can claim, like the Deputy Governor from Yobe State, that I'm a son of Anambra, but this is my 5th visit to your state. And it is a particular pleasure today that after the first visits were characterized by understanding the challenges you have, like soil erosion, the floods last year, the challenges in urban centers like Onitsha. Today, the focus is on solutions. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I would like to thank Governor Soludo and Ansipa for hosting this important event that's focused on a better future. Ever since you assumed the governorship, your vision, Governor, for the future of your state has been inspiring to us in the United Nations, and we look forward to hearing how this is evolving further. Anambra is known as the light of the nation, and impactful partnerships, advancing investment and development initiatives have the potential to make this state a shining example for the rest of the country. Approaching the halfway point towards the 2030 development agenda and the SDG summit in 2 weeks' time in New York, the sobering reality is that Nigeria, including Anambra, like many others, are tracking behind in the quest to serve the sustainable development goals, to achieve them. As it stands, governments, the UN, NGOs, and civil society cannot tackle the challenges alone. It will require a whole of society approach with the private sector as a pivotal engine if we are to secure just and sustainable development for Nigeria. To achieve pace and scale of transformative change that Nigeria needs, private sector investments from our perspective must not just be motivated by profit alone, but by consideration of the greatest social impact. There are some brilliant businesses here, I know, seeking investments which could help them expand exponentially. We are all discovering in this journey that you can be profitable while doing good. As I have traveled not just to your state, but across the country, I've seen firsthand the enormous potential for Nigeria to develop and thrive. It is also clear to me that government needs to play a crucial role in providing an enabling environment, and I think that's exactly what you're doing here in Anambra. The UN will continue our close partnership also with the federal government as we work together to accelerate achievement of sustainable development goals. So ladies and gentlemen, I know time is short, so in closing, let us all live up to the promise of the 2030 agenda and ensure that we leave no one behind. I congratulate you again, Governor, but also the ANSIPA team under the leadership of Managing Director Marco Koyo for pulling off this summit. We in the UN look forward to strengthening the bonds with you, Governor, your administration, and the citizens of this beautiful state. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, sir. Our next goodwill message will be coming from someone who's brand new in this position and is coming to share with us some of her thoughts on how Anambra can continue to benefit from the women. You can't talk investment without talking about women in Nigeria, especially in Anambra State. Anambra State is very, very noted for how powerful our women have become, both in national and state and even international discourse. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as I welcome on stage the Minister of Women Affairs, Barrister Uju Kennedy Ohanenye. Your hands together for her, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Good morning. Your Excellency, Executive Governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, let me only mention my governor and then plead and ask to stand on the existing protocols because I'm given only 3 minutes to speak. I thank you, the governor, and the organizers of this. It's a wonderful gesture, and I'm glad I was invited. Please, like the World Bank just spoke, let me just go straight to the point. He mentioned about the development goal, and he said we need our communities to make it work. I am pleading with Nigeria as a whole, with my governor and the Anambra State, that we need to change the narratives of how we've been doing that, our development goal. The way we've been doing it before has not been working. And I feel when you're doing something, it's not working, you change the narrative, you change the style. I am pleading for us to look into more production of some of these things in our society, especially the necessities like the matchbox, the toothpick, the cutting board, the sanitary pads, and stuff like that. Let us introduce urban development in the schools. If we can think about using Fridays as free for our children to start producing things just like they do in China. In China, even young kids get involved in production. I was able to speak to the president of Traders Union Association, and they are ready to partner on this, where when they produce these things, they carry it and market it within our country. We will not only create jobs, we will not only stop the issue of giving handouts to our Nigerians when they're supposed to be eating fat. We will equally curtail the drug intake of our children, because they will be more occupied. They will school and they will equally do some productions to start earning money on time. We will not, this is not only that, it will equally curtail the insecurity in our society. Let us help ourselves. If we are hoping on government to do it all, it will never happen. Look at genital mutilation. It's still going on up till date in our country, Nigeria, upon how exposed we are. It's because nobody cares and we're not doing the right thing. If you keep talking, and they are not listening, bring in some legal force into it and get them to do the right thing. But before you do that, you will first encourage them by sanitizing through the town criers. Then you empower them, because a hungry man is an angry man. You can empower them by introducing the production system to them. Let the people in the villages do, like the World Bank is doing Nigerian women project development or something. They are doing it, and it is working in the villages. We can co-opt it into our own style and get it to work. These people have been helping us for decades. Where are the results? From 5 states to 9 states of mortal genital mutilation. Sorry. I will continue. So everything is increasing instead of reducing. Let us change our style so that their monies will be better. Let us talk less and do more. Sometimes they spend 140 million in meetings and trainings. The people you're training to help get nothing. We need to sit up, because nobody will do it for us. We have to do it by ourselves. I am pleading with us. Let us focus this time and do things that will favor us. Let us get the World Bank to do things in a way that it will favor us. This is Anambra. This is the head of trading in Nigeria as a whole. Anambra people, please, I beg of you, lead the way so that we start producing these things. We have our trees that we can do toothpick from. We have our animals, we can use their skins and make shoes. We have our materials, we can sew westernized clothes and export it outside. Let us beg these donors not only to give us money, they should equally help us to create trade with their countries so that Nigeria will grow. We can't continue like this. Instead of us to continue like this, we are rather better off without the help. But we are the only one that we fight for that right, so that the narrative will change. Your children, my children are suffering. We don't know what the future holds for us. Until we change the narratives, we go nowhere. I am begging all of you. It is not something only government can do or an individual. We have to come together. That is why I've written to Governors Forum. They have to key in. I have written to Nigerian Traders Association. They have already keyed in. I am going with all this to New York to speak to the United Nations and let them know that this is what we want. If they want to help us, they should do it right to favor us. I'm giving only 3 minutes, and I wish I could talk more, but I cannot. I love you all. Thank you so much, and remain blessed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. If nothing else, at least we know you're very passionate about what you want to achieve. Can we give her another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? We hope the passion translates into work and success for our dear nation. Ladies and gentlemen, another very quick goodwill message for 2 minutes. Like I've said, from someone who's a strong representative of the private sector. She has many years of experience in manufacturing, and is currently the chairperson, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria for Anambra, Enugu, and Ebonyi. My big auntie as well, proudly from Okija. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Lady Ada Chukwudozie.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I beg to stand on existing protocols. I am standing here on behalf of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, bringing goodwill all the way from the headquarters to the states that I represent. Today is a wonderful day for us as manufacturers. We can never stop singing the song of the good investment strategies and the projects coming from our governor. It's mind-blowing. Never has Anambra State got it so right. And we are very proud of our governor's industrial technology hub and a prosperous Anambra initiative. We are very proud of all that he has engaged in trying to make Anambra a very livable and prosperous state. And we're very proud of him. I can only plead that everybody in the state, all on the Anambra, from the private sector to the public sector to all and sundry, should put hands together to support our governor because he means so well for the Anambra. We are very proud of you. Thank you all.
Thank you very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, another big round of applause for her. She has proven herself over the years in the manufacturing sector, and we thank you very much for all the good work you do. Ladies and gentlemen, we're also now quickly joined by the representative here present of the Ebonyi State Governor. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I welcome on the stage the Deputy Governor of Ebonyi State, Her Excellency Princess Patricia Onyemaechi Obila. Can we put our hands together for her? Thank you very, very much. Okay, we're going to just quickly go through. We know a lot of our governor's representatives are also here, and the Deputy Governor of Yobe State has spoken on behalf of all our governors who are here present. I'd like to quickly recognize the presence of the Senior Policy Advisor to the Delta State Governor, representing the Governor of Delta State here with us. Thank you very much for joining us. Also very quickly representing the Central Bank of Nigeria is the Director of FSS, Nkiru Asiebu, is also here with us. Come on, give them a big round of applause. And we have a very special guest here with us as well, who's the MD CEO of Fidelity Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Neka Onyali, may here with us. Thank you very much for joining us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on swiftly now to one of the main reasons why we're here, a very quick welcome address. He has gathered us here today, and I think it's very important that he tells us what exactly he wants to achieve today, and hearing from the horse's mouth is very important. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a man who over the years has proven himself extensively in the private sector. He has driven the economy of Nigeria for so many years and has preferred so many solutions. I mean, we are all very aware and we're all witnesses to the immense banking reforms that happened when he was the governor of the central bank. A lot of us are still standing today economically because our banks survived basically due to the fact that he decided to do the right thing. We thank him very much for that. He has extensive, and I say that, to reiterate how much he has done internationally with the World Bank and so many of the organizations. He was once voted the Global and African Central Bank Governor of the Year. He's a commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a recipient of the Kwame Nkrumah African Leadership Award. I think if we start listing the number of educational scholarships and doctorates, honorary doctorate degrees that he has received, we would not live here today. But I think it's very important that we remember that at a time when Nigeria is going through a lot of economic challenges, this is someone who has given us the answers in the past and is ready to replicate that in Anambra State. So if anybody can do this, it is him. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the screens behind me.
Located in the southeast region of Nigeria, Anambra State is home to over 8.5 million people across 21 local government areas in her 32 years of creation. The state has built a strong reputation with two of her cities out from the rest. Taiwan is a fast-growing industrial and commercial center known for its cluster of manufacturing companies. Onitsha is home to the African size and volume of goods, which makes it a thriving economic hub for commerce, industry, and education. More to Anambra, beyond these two landmark cities, the state has the highest number of entrepreneurs per square meter across a vast human capital, a gross domestic product value of $20 billion, with a GDP per capita of $2,353, according to the Presidential Enabling Business Environment. 7th among all states and first in southern Nigeria on the subnational ease of doing business and environment makes it the best place to do business in southeast Nigeria, a strategic that borders 7 across the southeast, central in the country to Lagos. The Anambra Basin is estimated to have over 10 trillion cubic feet of natural gas reserves, making Anambra the gas capital of Nigeria. Anambra's international cargo airport and Onitsha River Port have both transformed the way people and goods in and out of this. Truly, Anambra is the light of the nation. For Anambra to remain in the business world, the government of Professor Charles Soludo has embarked on massive road projects that have made issuances of land titles seamless, strengthening human capital development, empowerment and digital skill programs, and improving quality of education through the recruitment of over 5,000 teachers. No doubt, to take Anambra move from prosperity. Challenges are the food of champions, and the Anambra State Governor, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, has risen up to the task ahead. At the beginning of the administration, insecurity was the order of the day in Anambra. Social infrastructure lay in ruins, citizens' indifference towards the social contract, low tax revenue. Security, the Ministry of Homeland Affairs was created to foster interagency collaboration between security agencies. This has turned the tide around. Monday sit-at-homes are now a thing of the past. A secure Anambra means the Anambra State Investment Promotion and Protection Agency, ANSIPA, has its main duty. The destination of choice for premium investors based on the Governor's manifesto promises. Governor Soludo's vision is to make Anambra a livable and prosperous smart mega city. His plan is hinged upon the 5 major pillars: security, law and order, economic transformation and infrastructure, human capital and social agenda, governance, rule of law, a value system, and the environment. These pillars are key to economic empowerment in any society. Is the true engine of any economy. No state can progress faster than its investment in education. Good governance is the difference between state failure and capacity. Anambra is ready for business. With this in mind, the state government is set to embark on key projects across the state. The Ikenga Mixed-Use Industrial City, a brand new industrial city development, which will be Nigeria's first planned industrial mixed-use city, to be sited on over 4,000 hectares of land estate. The city will boast of world-class infrastructure such as gas pipelines, dedicated IPP, the largest themed park in Africa, and access via air transportation. This project would attract over $5 billion in investment and create over 1 million jobs. The Anambra Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Hub, a 200-plus hectare park that will attract over $1 billion in investment and create over 50,000 jobs. The Akwi Hedi Unubi Uga Automotive Industrial Park, AUU, 100-hectare industrial park that will be home to over 20+ vehicle manufacturing and assembly plants and related industries. The Solution Agro-Industrial Park and Farm Estate Project, a 2,000-hectare park that will promote agricultural production, food processing, and marketing. The Anambra Export Emporium, a 106-hectare export processing zone that will promote the export of Anambra-made goods and services while hosting the largest shopping mall in Africa. The Anambra Intra-City Rail System Project, an ultra-modern infrastructure project that will provide high-speed rail connectivity between major cities, Onitsha, Awka, Nnewi, and Ekulobia, and key residential and industrial corridors across the state. Onitsha River Port Dredging. The concession and dredging of the River Niger will improve activities at the Onitsha River Port while tackling the menace of seasonal flooding in communities along the riverbanks in Anambra and neighboring state. Osakwa River has the potential to host another river port in Anambra. Its proximity to the ocean and estimated draft of over 10 meters makes it ideal to receive large vessels. The operation of both river ports is projected to significantly boost economic activities and create over 1 million jobs. The development of a gas pipeline network connecting key cities, industrial parks, special economic zones, commercial and residential area to deliver 3.5 billion cubic annually and improve power supply across the state. The Solution Technology and Innovation District, a 19.7-hectare project that will become home to technology companies and startups, attracting over $500 million of investment and creating over 250,000 jobs. Sustainable development is on the way. With these groundbreaking projects resting on the 5 key pillars, Anambra is set to become Africa's next axis of sustainable prosperity. The future is here, and the Solution Agenda will power it. Invest in Anambra.
Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people would like to say Anambra Gadimma, but I say Anambra Dibagomma. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on the stage the Executive Governor of Anambra State, His Excellency Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo.
Did you put off all the light? I just wanted to make it so, Your Excellencies, a very, very distinguished invitee, Your Excellencies, the diplomatic corps, business entrepreneurs, Ndigwe. I don't think anyone has mentioned Ndigwe. Ndigwe, I can see the traditional rulers. Several of them are also captains of industry. I can see Igwe Igulube. Because we are going to be commissioning one of your factories very soon. So you're all welcome. And let me say, all other protocols duly observed. Our brothers, our deputy governors from the respective states, Bonye, Yobe, and I think even, is that Oyo? I understand he arrived yesterday. Maybe he's yet to come. I hope nobody is confused about the timing for this event. And then also the president of the Afrexim Bank. We're still expecting him to arrive. But I think the senior, that executive director or the vice president of Afrexim is here. Council, let me rest on all the existing protocol and say a big welcome. Mine is a simple task. Just in a few words to say big welcome to you to this first ever Anambra Investment Summit. At least that's what I have been made to understand. That this is the first time we're having this kind of investment summit of this structure. We've had some round tables, some miniature conversations. But today, we wanted to put together quite one of several of the events that we have scheduled to intentionally prepare and package Anambra as the next axis of prosperity. So I want to thank and welcome all of you to Anambra State, the light of the nation. You are all welcome. 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 As you could note, this event, which was planned a few months ago, Honorable Minister Nkai, this is Ada Anambra, the brand new minister, our own minister representing us at the federal cabinet, and then of course our brother Chief George Mogalo, who will soon help us to deliver the Onitsha port to become very functional, as it were. You're all welcome. So apologies, as you could see, the president is in China, and with him happened to be quite a large contingent of Nigeria's entrepreneurs. And I know that a few dozens in the Anambra entrepreneurs who had earlier even confirmed to be here for this summit, unfortunately had to go with him. But we thought it was better, as they were calling me to apologize, they wouldn't be able because they were going with the president. I said, that is even better. Go there and negotiate for further investments into Anambra State. And so, in a few stops, I want to say to you, and that message has been said, Anambra, the light of the nation, is on the move. Our journey to making Anambra the next axis of sustainable prosperity is on course. As you saw from the video that has just been shown, with an economic size of estimated at about $20 billion, with a population of about 8.5 million people, it's important that our people know, the world knows, that Anambra has the highest population density after Lagos. After Lagos, the state with the highest population density per square kilometer is Anambra State. Anambra State is a hub locationally. We have a boundary with the north through Kogi. We have a boundary with the southwest, south-south via Delta. We have a boundary with Rivers State and boundaries with Enugu, Abia, and Imo states. It's a hub. It is the state that is potentially, that is potentially accessible by air, by land, and by sea. Once we get the Onitsha port thing now dredged and the barges start coming down to Anambra, Anambra will be accessible by air, land, and sea. It is a hub. With the Niger Bridge completed, Asaba and Onitsha have become almost like New Jersey and New York, twin cities. We have the largest market in West Africa, it is said. I remember one of the times that the former president, Obasanjo, visited here and we were seeing him off to the, he did mention to me that Onitsha is actually the largest fish market, and not only in Nigeria, even in West Africa. You have the billionaires, has been said, enterprise and human capital. We have 15 major higher institutions, tertiary institutions, 10 universities, 3 polytechnics, 2 colleges of education. Not talking about other specialized colleges of nursing, health technologies, and so on and so forth. We have some first-rate hospitals, huge and strong diaspora population, etc., etc. The potentials are just infinite. As you've just heard, Anambra is #1 out of the 17 states in the southern Nigeria on the latest ease of doing business in Nigeria, in terms state by state. And we are number 7 in the entire country. Our 5 pillars of the Soludo Solution Agenda is on course. Our vision is to build a livable and prosperous smart megacity, and the preferred destination to live, to invest, work, to learn, to relax and enjoy. And we're very, very deliberate and intentional on trying to make sure that we accomplish the 5 things. As you saw in the video, security, law, and order is improving. We're aggressively addressing our infrastructure. As of today, about 470 kilometers of roads are being constructed across the 21 local governments of the state. We've signed an MOU, very intentional about addressing the issue of power. We've signed an agreement with EEDC. We'll have gas pipelines being planned to be able to energize independent power plants and to really develop an Anambra electricity market. Urban regeneration is on course. Our water and ports, as we mentioned, on course. Planning a rail feasibility study and master plan. That's part of the MOUs we are going to sign today. A 2,000-kilometer fiber optic ducts being laid across the state to give people access to cheap and accessible internet access. And we are determined to break the jinx, decade-old jinx, about availability of urban and rural water schemes in Anambra State. That is also on course. Industrial city, industrial parks, and an industrial city. You'll be talking about that today. Our export emporium and Africa's largest shopping mall is on course. That's being designed now. The feasibility study is finished. The agricultural regeneration, palm and coconut revolution, etc. The Chinese ambassador, I understand there's an MOU we're going to sign with you with regards to mushroom production and export and other strategic investments and export potentials to as you mentioned here, China, the largest market, at least by the size of the population. And of course, you have the second largest GDP, a huge market, which we need to exploit. And thank you for coming, and with the team that you have here. About 400 Chinese live in Anambra, in various sectors. And there are 2 institutions where Chinese language is taught here in Anambra. And as I mooted to you when we passed, we'll give you an estate where you'll build a Chinatown. It's not just the boulevard. You're going to have the Chinatown here in Anambra. And you did that, you will take it up and get it done. So for boulevard, you mentioned, and the whole, we're also having our people intentionally, we're developing from importation to production and exportation. Our companies are people who are importing from China, from India, we have a special program. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with 300 of them, major importers, to develop an agenda very deliberately to turn them from being importers to domestic producers and ultimately to begin to be exporters. We have an agenda with that, and we hope to be able to partner with you and with others in this regard. Then we're very deliberate about the sports economy. We're mainstreaming that, the leisure entertainment. And I want to say to you, while I welcome you here, peaceful Anambra, secure Anambra, come again by this time next year. After a summit like this, you wouldn't just go back to your hotels or go some other places. We'll take you to the Solution Fund City here in Awka and take you through our water parks, amusement parks, and country club. Where you could just relax and enjoy. We're very intentional about this. The Agolo Lake Resort and we're acquiring another 200 hectares of land that will be the entertainment leisure city here in Anambra. The world will be coming to Anambra. Our goal is to turn Anambra from being a departure lounge to a destination point. We must change that narrative from being a departure lounge to a destination point. We intentionally plan to come to Anambra. And in a few years' time, our goal is that any visitor, any foreigner that gets to Nigeria and hasn't been to Anambra, hasn't been to Nigeria. Our human capital agenda, quite ongoing on talk. We're prioritizing that. And in the next 2 weeks, I will be addressing our people on education. Education is key. Our human capital is our biggest resource ever. We have the gas, we have natural resources, minerals, solid minerals, and so on. But our greatest resource is human capital. And we're intentional about developing our human capital to be productive at home, but also to be exportable abroad. On governance, everything technology and technology everywhere, to mainstream efficient service delivery. That in Anambra, you can now obtain change of title of land, your certificate of occupancy, and so on. It's gone from taking months and 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. It's now cut down to 3 days, 3 to 5 days, and you get your CFO in Anambra State. We're very intentional about this, and we're not joking about it. A new local government system is emerging. Our environment, our biggest existential threat. We are working towards a plan, clean, green, and sustainable markets, communities, and cities. We're planning better. We are the gully erosion capital of the world. Everywhere, gully erosion, Onisha, Owerri, Federal Highway, is been caught in many places by gully erosion. And Anambra State is putting out a few billions. And the other day, the one Nobi to Mpo is also being caught completely. And different spots, as we're fixing here, the other places are rising, but we've come with a comprehensive agenda, which the State Assembly, Mr. Speaker, I'm sure you and members of the State Assembly are also here, especially recognize you. And I'm sure when you are back from your holidays, that will be one of the first bills we will be presenting to you to rescue our environment and make our environment sustainable. Our urban regeneration agenda is on course. I can go on and on and on and on and on, but just to tell you, our potential investors, that Anambra, we are firing on all cylinders, and Anambra will be that place for you to come. This is an investment summit like no other. And I will tell you a few things that will make this different. And I'm glad country coordinator of the United Nations system here and the Chinese ambassador. Chinese ambassador particularly stressed that this shouldn't just be talk, we should be closing deals. Is that? This is a summit, an investment summit that is different. It's not just coming to talk. Not much ceremonies, not much protocols. We'll symbolically sign some deals in a few minutes' time. I'm sure by the time we listen to our keynote speaker, President of the Afrexim Bank, I would also be mentioning some specific engagements we have with them, because we will also be signing an MOU with them today. We are very intentional and deliberate. I've made a program to mainstream people from importation to production and to exportation eventually, especially exploiting the opportunities under the Africa Free Trade Agreement that we have. The world is for us, and Nigeria is it's the largest economy in Africa, but it's potentially one of the, Nigeria, by the turn of this century, should be in the top 3, top 4 largest economy in the world if we focus our mind already. But whatever Nigeria goes, Anambra is determined to become a point that we will be exporting deliberately in some months to come. And that's why we've acquired 106 hectares of land at Ukulu. And that's where we're establishing the export emporium with the warehouses, an aggregation center that will become a free trade zone, an export free trade zone. We are innovation district to midwife the emergence of digital tribe, and so on and so forth. Our 1U 2 skills program, we're trying to mainstream deliberately and empower the emergence of MSMEs, okay, in the state. Organizing funding, thinking it through, and trying to do the mentoring process from gestation, project development to execution. Execution, execution, execution. We are investing investing in project development, feasibility studies to take project to bankability. This is different. We're not just telling you, come and invest. We want to handhold and work with you. As I say everywhere, if you have a major investment to make in Anambra, I will become your personal assistant. And will be the chief marketing officer for you. When you see me wearing made in Obunike shoe, or wearing the Akwete made by the women of Akwete in Abia, or driving innocent vehicles as my personal vehicles, it is deliberate, it's intentional, and it is designed to send a message that if we don't say here we are, nobody is going to say there you are. We'll be the chief marketing officer for anything, everything produced here in Anambra. And we're going to have an expo on Made in Anambra Expo. And we will be doing that expo shortly in a few months at the Export Emporium. We will invite you again to come to the Export Emporium. That is it. Made in Anambra for the world. We'll be marketing them. And today we'll be signing an MOU with Afrexim Bank on a coterie of projects that we'll be working hand in hand together and raising the funding, and they will also be helping to put together several of the funding with international consulting firm Mahindra Global Consulting to help us to develop the feasibility study and the master plan for our industrial cities and parks. It's not just come and build industry here, everywhere. People are building this. We're acquiring about 5,000 to 7,000 hectares of land. That will be a complete industrial city with everything that you need to be there. And and this is being planned, and a master plan of that is being developed as we speak. Of course, the pharmaceutical industrial hub and the Akwi Head, the automotive, we call it the AUU, Akwi Head Unubioga Automotive Industrial Park, and so on. We are forging, part of what is different is that we are deliberately forging productive partnerships with the international development partners, the Anambra, and domestic investors, with the federal government, as well as the financial institutions. Yes, on the 9th of June last year, I think much of the international community, about 19 of them, Matthias, you were there, he led a team, the international community from of the US, UK, Japan, Germany, France, and so on and so forth, South Africa, Egypt, and then all the development institutions. The World Bank country director is here. I'm sure he's on one of the his keynote speaker in one of the panel sessions. And then IMF, and everybody was here. UNDP, UN System, UNIDO, and everybody was here. 19 of them came on a chartered flight from the UN to tour Anambra with all the opportunities, and I won't tell you much what spin-off from all of this. We are very deliberate about these partnerships, and we will continue to cement them and put Anambra on the map. And what again is different is that, like a personal commitment, and we have an organized, competent team. We have a one-stop shop, the Anambra State Investment Promotion and Protection Agency, which we are reviewing to expand their scope to also incorporate a financing arm. And I think there is a session for that today, where you talk about possibilities that we're exploring. And if need be, beside the investment funds that we might be developing, if it becomes necessary, we might actually, help to metamorphose or orchestrate deliberately the emergence of a new financial institution to help to propel this, if we're not getting the kind of partnerships and networks that we will require. We will have to bring one on board. Tomorrow, we'll be doing groundbreaking ceremony. Like I said, this is not just a talk shop. Following from here, tomorrow, we'll be having a groundbreaking ceremony for the second automobile manufacturing company here in Anambra after Innocent. The Oma Kojo groups at Omunya will be having the groundbreaking ceremony today. For some months to come, even days to come, we will be commissioning projects before the end of this year. Anambra is the place. Why some are still waiting to see when the situation is all perfect? Those who are taking the first mover advantages are moving in and expanding. I see Seahorse there, yeah. And the other day I was at the Tiger Foods. Is that? There are expansion plans to commission that, and within this year, I understand the Eastern Distilleries and Foods Industries Limited, being pioneered by one of our traditional rulers, Dr. Igwe Chris Orano Chidume, is going to be ready for commissioning this year. True or false? Yes, he says it's true. Thank you very much. We will be coming on to commission that. I understand that's going to employ quite a number of our people. Reliable Steel and Plastics Industries of Chief Mrs. Maria Ihiono and Chief Sam Ihiono, that will be also ready for commissioning in the next couple of weeks or so. The EEDC metering company at Orifite, and I understand is now ready for commissioning, and the next week or two or so, we will be doing that. That's a long list of people and we will be coming. Like I said, if you produce it here in Anambra, appoint me as your Chief Marketing Officer, and I will be there to do the commissioning. And today, we have symbolically, out of maybe 3 dozen or so of MOUs that are ready to be signed, we've symbolically chosen quite a few for the symbolism of it, because they cover different sectors. There is the financing bit of it, which will have to do with Afrexim Bank. There is the consulting development of bankable feasibility studies that will be done by the Mahindra, as I mentioned, to generate a master plan as well for our industrial city. Then we have the Anambra Intra-City Rail. Intra-City Rail. People have talked about it for decades, but there has been no feasibility study. There has been no master plan. We now want to walk the talk. We are hiring the CPCS of Canada, an international consulting firm that has helped to midwife several of the train services around Africa, and even the ones that we have had here in Nigeria. They will be producing a bankable feasibility study for us between now and probably the next 6 months. We are signing that agreement today, not tomorrow. They will produce that master plan, and then we will begin to get the money to get this done. We'll have the automotive industrial park co-promoter, Oma Kojo Motors, is joining us with that. We have the pharmaceutical industrial park, the Oka shopping mall. We've chosen sectors, different segments. We'll pick one person. We'll pick one representative of different ones, whether it is in the area of commerce, the shopping mall, or in the industrial automotive, or the promotion there. Then we get on to promoting the key thing we are promoting as a government, and that is public, community, private initiative, partnership, that the community partners with government. And NENI has been a shining model of that. They are now dealing with an NENI water scheme, and we want that here as well today. Mainstreaming this. NKO Agro Park. I understand this is Ora, a medical doctor, Dr. Daw, who has a medical practice in New Jersey, and who, people go and talk to the diaspora. No, this is not talk. And I understand they even have deposited about $1.5 million for some years and stock somewhere, but the bottlenecks were immense. I said, no, not with this government. Yeah. If you go there and they don't answer, you call me. We will unlock it in minutes. And so we are signing that agreement today symbolically, and we will let her have the land and go on to develop this product. And you can send the message to the diaspora. If you come, I will come and receive you at the airport and take you to your land. And that's why we are deliberately having the land for investment. So you don't come looking around. Come to us. We'll give you a parcel. Go there and develop. And we are deliberately going to take gas and power to those industrial cities and industrial parks so that you can have embedded power in them, those basics and the infrastructure in those. That's why I say we are very intentional. That is the Green Village Electricity Joint Venture Partnership, and they are doing this in the areas of the Nzam area. They had to reach poor sections of Anambra State. They are taking power to them, and then we'll sign something. We're supporting the concessionaires on the Onitsha River Port, just to say that we are intent on seeing the start loading. Onitsha Port becoming port of final destination and port of origin. Port of final destination and port of origin. And with the support we think we're likely to have, we are getting from the NIWA and so on, we're going to get it done. And I will tell you, my dear friends, we are here at a personal level. Guarantees, this is part of the question people ask us. And I have said it severally here. 2 weeks ago, meetings, they complain that, governors ask people to come and invest, but they don't put their own investment there. You look at those who have born and they simply be governor, and after that they all run away and so on. If it is so nice, why don't they put their money? And that reminded me, experience we had when we envisaged and designed the establishment of Transcorp. And when that was going to take off, the initial investor said, myself and the former president of Obasanjo, who came with the program, that we needed to put our own money. And both of us actually raised money and put in there to show that we believe. We believe. We don't just say, ask you to come. We do what? We believe. And at a personal level, if that is what will be required, I will also If I can't get it, I can see some of the bankers here. If I don't have it, I know the bankers to go and borrow the money from. If you want that, the only way you want, I should put in my, even if it is 1 naira, I will put in there as equity to tell you that I am in it for you and with you. And as a state, we are very deliberate. We're setting up an investment fund that we will all go with you if we need to, besides providing you with land and infrastructure. I have come, I applied for this job to help to build a state where I will not only live, retire, and die. This is my home. God didn't make a mistake in choosing Anambra. So, I'm putting in everything into this. So, and finally to say, I'm going to do everything to encourage you in any way that you want, to make your business prosper, to help to deal here in Anambra. The coordinator, UN coordinator, made a very fundamental point, that what must drive investments must not necessarily be in terms of profit and loss account, but the social impact. When they built Israel, when they decided to intentionally build it as one of the most prosperous places in the world, it was not the most profitable place, but people were all about it. Maybe the rate of return, and I bet you if you produce it here, many places, I'm not quite sure if you go beyond Lagos, that it will be more profitable, that has a larger market than here in Anambra. If it is even in terms of profitability, Anambra, you'll have the market to put it. And like I said, we are a hub to the north, a hub to the southeast, southwest, south, and of course, the heartland of the east. So this is the place that you'll come. And we will do everything. In addition to recognizing all those of you who are making these sacrifices and investment, we will have, annually, besides the awards that we give, and, to honor those of you who have become champions, who are employers of labor, this deserve to be the people that and recognize the most. A time is coming, in the coming months, it will be like if you tell us you are Onya Anambra, you are doing this and that, the question we ask you is, how many people, where is your factory? How many people are you employing? How many kilometers of road have you tarred? How many schools have you adopted? How many hospitals are you assisting? Have you done today to make Anambra? What are you doing? That will become the basis for our reward and so on. And I want to tell you, we are going to be intentional about it. In fishing out those who are our champions, who are moving our state forward, and we want to reward you. For those who are made as once more particular edifice, I'm sure for many of you, this is your first time here. You are the first time here. On this magnificent International Convention Center, Anambra State. I want to appreciate my predecessor in office, Chief Willie Obiano, who conceptualized and built this. I've never acknowledged that enough, and we thank him. Even the airport that he also at least started it and got it to where he is. We are still building it, and I'm hoping to get it completed. Probably today you've come to Anambra International Convention Center, Oka. Hopefully, I haven't even discussed this with him, but if he agrees if he accepts, the next time when you come here, it will now become the Willie Obiano International Convention Center. Yes. If you accept, that's what we'll do. We play a different kind of politics in Anambra. Our politics is statesmanship. And all my predecessors, beginning from him to Willie Obiano, did a great job. From him, you have the others, even the earliest ones. Chukwuemeka Ezife, first civilian governor we had here in this state. You get down to Dr. Chinwoke, who many people forget was the one that established the Anambra State University at his own time. And of course, Dr. Chris Ngige and Mr. Peter Obi. These are our governors. We are going to deliberately find either institutions, boulevards, major streets, major roads, to name after them. To name after them. And several of our people deserving of this, former governors, even them, Vejie Tiaba, and some other, Chinua Achebe, for example, Francis Cardinal Arinze, or Archbishop Anikwenwa, and so on. Major, Emeka Anyoko, and all of that. We have to be deliberate about celebrating our best. But very for the event today, for these people who are putting down their mouth here. I've seen my brother, Poco Bros, Oji Soviam, Igwe Orano, and others, not to talk about Dozie and others, the Ibe, Koscharis, and so on and so forth. All those who have their investments, creating jobs, creating wealth, we will want to honor them. And as we honor them, the young ones will now say that in Anambra, hard work is what we celebrate. Integrity is what we celebrate. We don't celebrate criminality in Anambra. We don't celebrate money that we don't know the source. In Anambra, we celebrate hard work. We celebrate enterprise. We celebrate those who make contribution to society. And this is what Anambra is all about. And if you are about that, I will be yours sincerely, will be your chief servant and your chief marketer. Once more, welcome to Anambra and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you very much and God bless you.
I think you'll agree with me that he deserves a way bigger round of applause than that. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, for that very uplifting speech. I like the idea very much of honoring those who have done very well and made Anambra State proud. Thank you for... in case you find a small street on the corner, I think Ebuka or Buchendo Street sounds very good as well. Thank you very much, sir. But on a more serious note, I like the fact that you said Anambra is no longer a departure state. It's a state you want people to visit. It's a very, very, very important. I know we are the as well, and most people always say, hey, Ebuka, I passed your village. We need them to start stopping here and spending their money here. Thank you very much. Another big round of applause for... Thank you very, very much. Just quickly recognizing the presence of the Enugu State Governor here, represented by the Secretary to the State Government. His Honor Chidiebere Onya is here with us. Thank you very much. Your hands of applause for him, please. Also here with us is the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, here represented by the State Director here in Anambra State, Comrade Arthur Mbuba Your hands together for him. Thank you very much. And we also quickly have here with us the Director General of the Southeast Governors Forum, Senator Lady Uche Ekwunife. Your hands. Thank you very, very much. It's time for us to take a quick keynote address. And this is a very key part of why we're here, ladies and gentlemen. I'd need us to pay very important attention to this, because while we talk investment, we also need very, very important partners who are going to be joining us on this journey. Here to give us a keynote address is someone who has done extensive work both in Nigeria and internationally, as the president of the African Export-Import Bank, Dr. Benedict Okeorama, who's here represented by the executive vice president of the African Export-Import Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, please, to deliver the keynote address, put your hands together for Kanayo Awani. Your hands together for her, please.
Anambra State House of Assembly, Your Highness, traditional captains of industry, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Ndị be anyị daalụ nụ, ekene m unu. Obi m bụ sọ aṅụrị otu unu si welu nye m ohere nke a ka m kwuo okwu n'emume nke taata. Obviously, if I flip-flopped, it is because I'm not from Anambra State. If there were dialectical challenges, it's because I'm from Imo State, which is, but I hope I made a good job out of that. For the benefit of those who do not understand Igbo language, I will now continue in English. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a few miles south of this capital city, Awka, is my hometown, Nnokwa. I was a young student when Anambra State, as we know it today, was created back in 1991. Despite my youth, I was excited by the development opportunity that the new state would offer our people. I was excited by the development opportunity that the new state will offer our people, for emphasis. Like the legendary Oja Adeli, who went to the spirit world, fought the spirits of the wild, and returned unscathed. The new state stood out as a home of a people who normally travel to all corners of the world in search of greener pastures and always return home to share the fruits of their industry. I knew that with a unparalleled entrepreneurship, commercial and artisanal skills, and undisputed business acumen, that the only thing that would be needed to unleash the potential was a visionary, knowledgeable, bold, and courageous leadership. That is why I believe that the emergence of Professor Soludo as governor of Anambra State ushers in a new dawn for the state. That is why I'm highly honored to stand before you today to address the 2023 Anambra Investment Summit under the theme, Laying the Foundation for a Prosperous and Smart Megacity. As we begin to collectively lay the groundwork for that prosperous and smart megacity in Anambra State, this summit will underscore what can be achieved when public and private sector stakeholders join forces to drive meaningful change. It will reemphasize to us the value of quality leadership and the benefits of building together as a people to pursue the upliftment of our collective welfare. My gratitude extends to the governor of Anambra State, His Excellency, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, whose vision has set the stage for this transformational journey. The recent progress that Anambra State has made in terms of industrialization is commendable. The Onitsha River Port and the development of the Nnewi Technology Park can form the foundation on which growth and innovation can thrive. In the past, some initiatives by Afrexim Bank to support the development of the state had stalled. For instance, a proposed automotive park and water transmission reticulation project around Onitsha and Awka, estimated to cost around $350 million, could not get off the ground. A major industrial park project of the type going on in Ogun State for an investment of $400 million was aborted in Anambra State due to high levels of insecurity. Also aborted was an initiative to explore diaspora-linked instruments, such as diaspora bonds, to raise funding for some of these projects, drawing a very strong sense of patrimony for Anambra people. The Oja delays wherever they are. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the vision of a smart megacity is not just about infrastructure. It is about fostering a future that harnesses human ingenuity, innovation, and collaboration. It is about creating an ecosystem where governments, industries, communities unite to craft a future that's all. This is why Afrexim Bank will stand with you as a steadfast partner, committed to fostering prosperity in Anambra State, using both financial and non-financial capabilities. As we gather here to discuss the vision for a smart megacity, let me reiterate that Afrexim Bank's mission aligns seamlessly with Anambra's industrialization objectives. For example, the bank has identified the emergence of industrial parks and special economic zones as a strategic priority in view of the capacity to accelerate Africa's industrial infrastructure development. This is to not only optimize capital deployment, but also drive economies of scale and nurture ecosystem development. They also enable the use of otherwise inaccessible technologies and cutting-edge infrastructure. Such projects, by their nature, require substantial funding from diverse sources, both public and private. In this context, innovative partnerships, including public-private partnerships, have emerged as instrumental bridges capable of closing the infrastructure gap that spans the continent. Africa's private sector, wealth of skills, experience, and financial resources, holds immense potential to bolster a wide spectrum of public sector endeavors. In other words, just as we have championed the transformative potential of industrial parks and special economic zones across Africa through public and private sector collaboration, committing over $1.5 billion so far in the realization of these projects, Afrexim Bank is ready to support Anambra State as it is doing in Ogun State and the Enyimba Industrial City to promote similar projects. In this regard, with peace and security gradually returning to the state, with our youth beginning to realize that their future cannot thrive in an environment of widespread insecurity, we can look forward to a similar $400 million industrial park project in collaboration with. Thank you. It makes business sense to do so. And we have advanced discussions with Anambra State Promotion and Protection Agency, ANSIPA, to make sure that this happens and creates over 10,000 jobs here in the state, while bringing export-oriented businesses into Anambra State. Also look forward to working with ANSIPA to establish a project preparation facility that will bring the projects in the pipeline into bankability. The work of this facility will unlock more than $1 billion of bankable projects in the state. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to the goals that we have set for ourselves and for Anambra State during this summit, I would like to highlight our collaboration with the Federal Republic of Nigeria over the years. As you are aware, the bank has invested over $36 billion into the Nigerian economy since its creation in 1993 through its trade and projects financing. In addition, Afrexim Bank remains committed to contributing Nigeria's economic growth, as evident in a number of flagship projects underway, such as a $300 million 500-bed Africa Medical Center of Excellence going on in Abuja in partnership with King's College Hospital, London. The Afrexim Bank Africa Trade Center, also in Abuja, and the Africa Quality Assurance Center in Shagamu, Ogun State, which is already operational. I would also like to inform you that the bank is implementing African Sovereigns Government Network, which is aimed at creating a platform for sub-sovereign governments throughout Africa to promote economic development and encourage intra-African trade and investment. The network enables a collaboration between the public and private sector, facilitates peer learning, and allows us to take our products and services to the grassroots, where trade and investment actually takes place. The bank has organized 2 African sub-sovereign governments network conferences since the establishment of the network in 2021, with the next one scheduled in for November 13, 2023, during the bank's Intra-African Trade Fair taking place during the 9th to 15th of November in Cairo, Egypt. We invite Anambra State to attend the conference and showcase its trade and investment projects to potential investors and financial institutions. Under our U.S. Mayor's Diaspora Program, Sub-Sovereign Governments Network also provides an opportunity to collaborate with sub-sovereigns in the United States of America, especially those in cities where there are huge diaspora communities or African Americans. We invite His Excellency Governor Chukwuma Soludo to be a part of this event, which also provides a speaking opportunity to promote Anambra State, and in my own words as the Chief Marketing Officer. The bank, leveraging in Africa's capital markets, is also able to raise funds that can be deployed into impactful infrastructure projects in the states, using various financing instruments and mechanisms that can be further explored with Anambra State government, including reopening discussions around diaspora bond instruments. We look forward to working with the state government to launch a $250 million diaspora bond that can support not only the development of the mega city, but also other projects that we will identify. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as discussions progress between Afrexim Bank and Anambra State's Investment Promotion and Protection Agency and SIPA, a promising horizon unfolds, one marked by the potential for transformative growth in local manufacturing, enhanced export development, and a significant reduction in unemployment. This collaborative effort aligns perfectly with Afrexim Bank's mission and will undoubtedly contribute further to Nigeria's GDP growth and trade deficit reduction. We envisage a joint understanding for Afrexim Bank to support projects valued by up to $500 million in Anambra State. In my own words now, I think Governor Soludo has already talked about an MOU that we will be signing. Before I close, I must seize this opportunity to invite you all to the forthcoming Intra-African Trade Fair, which is jointly convened by Afrexim Bank, the African Union Commission, and the AFCFTA Secretariat. The trade fair provides a platform for public enterprises, financial institutions, corporates, and SMEs from across all industries in Africa to showcase their products and plug into regional value chains. It is a sustainable platform for connecting buyers and sellers, that is exhibitors, to enable them to share trade and market information and conclude deals. In addition to mobilizing exhibitors to IATF, the bank has also developed an African buyers program that is aimed at identifying credible buyers and bringing them to the trade fair to participate in the B2B platform, which seeks to match-make buyers and sellers to facilitate conclusion of business and investment deals. The buyers program continues even after the IATF and provides trade finance, trade facilitation, and trade information and advisory services to African buyers to enable them to buy made in Africa products and boost intra-African trade under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. In this context, I would like to invite Anambra State to participate in the IATF as a trade fair, as exhibitor and sponsor. I'll also call on Anambra State-owned businesses with their strong heritage in commerce to opportunities under the African Buyers Program. The Intra-African Trade Fair 2023 will take place in Cairo, Egypt, and from 9 to 15th of November 2023. As I end, let me reiterate that Anambra's dedication to shaping a future that is prosperous, smart, and inclusive is truly impressive. Let us use this summit as a platform to forge partnerships, share ideas, and contribute to the growth and development of Anambra State. Let me restate the bank's commitment in supporting the megacity, the smart megacity, and Anambra State's industrialization agenda. Furthermore, as a people, as a state with prominent business people, rather, the bank could be doing more in terms of supporting the businesses to institutionalize. There is, however, a need for them to imbibe a strong credit, culture, and integrity. I thank you for your kind attention. Professor Benedict Okeorama, President and Chairman of the Board of Afrexim Bank. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give her another round of applause. Looking forward to great collaborations and support from the Afrexim Bank going forward. Thank you very much. Can we also give Emmanuel here a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? He's been doing an amazing job so far. He's our co-host all day, and our co-presenter, and our co-everything on stage today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our very first panel. We're going to take a quick 2-3 minute break just to get the panel ready, and for you to also get out your notepads and your pens to take notes, because we're here to learn with Anambra State. Our very first panel is going to be on industrial parks and special economic zones, coming up in just a moment.
Oka, there in Anambra State, holding at the International Convention Center, declared open by the state governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, who of course is the chief host. This particular investment summit is aimed at reinforcing the government's commitment to fostering a conducive business environment for investors. According to the chief press secretary to the governor, Christian Aburime, the summit in itself will unlock the future and bring the world to Anambra State. It is in this relentless quest of the governor to transform the state that it is hosting this extraordinary investment event that promises to be an eye-opener for the business community in Nigeria and beyond. He further disclosed that this summit, of course, powered by the Anambra State Investment Promotion and Protection Agency, with the theme, the role of corporate governance in building sustainable businesses, is being attended by a lot of dignified personalities who would seek to propel their businesses to new heights and, of course, unlock the infinite potential in Anambra State. There you can see the governor himself, of course, having fireside chat, I would say, with members of that investment summit. The live scenes there, of course, will be an opportunity for Anambra State and governing officials to discuss the chart and the future of the state as to fulfill Governor Chukwuma Soludo's promise of sustained prosperity. In his speech earlier, he had pointed out that this investment summit, this 2023 Anambra Investment Summit, is an opportunity for more people to participate in what is happening in the state. He also called for people or personalities to be more involved in the town hall meetings that happen in Anambra, as well as the roundtable session that will be happening with the biggest importers, manufacturers, and exporters in the state. We'll come back to the live scenes from Oka at the Anambra Investment Summit 2023 just after this break. Well, the Rise News now joins the live coverage of Anambra State Summit 2023, powered by the Anambra State Investment Promotion and Protection Agency. It's happening live at the International Convention Center in Oka.
My name is Christian, Udechukwu Christian. I'm going to stand on existing protocols. Mr. Governor, sir, I welcome you all once again to this inaugural Anambra Investment. I had slides but given that I'm just going to talk you through the agenda as it concerns industrialization in Anambra. The Ministry of Industry in Anambra State are 4 or 5-fold. Bring back dead industries. Industries that we had in Anambra have gone down. Premier breweries is to give. We are also mandated to build up weak industries. And that is to say that we have a stage, a sort of escalator by which we are developing programs to help nano industries, micro industries to transit to the stage of becoming small and medium enterprises. And we have funding in place through the Anambra Business Association, funding within the Ministry of Industry, funding from development finance partners, through which we are able to help companies get on that escalator and then move from being nano to small to medium and then large enterprises. We also are mandated to help strong industries become stronger. And that is to say that there are medium-sized enterprises that are not as big as the large names that has been mentioned on stage here. And our job is to identify those companies and support them through official government policy and through some of the deliberate structures that the government is creating to enable them transit from being medium-sized companies to becoming large industries. Part of the mandate that we have is that we are also able to support the strong industries to become stronger and the stronger ones to become our champions across Africa. Now, in that regards, we have two major policy strands. One is to encourage Made in Anambra. That is to say that everything is by deliberate government policy to assure through procurement processes and other deliberate mix of policy that they are encouraged to grow their businesses and to become stronger than they are. So we have a Made in Anambra agenda that is designed to support industries from automotive manufacturers, pharmaceutical firms, food and beverage companies, oil and gas companies, to become household names across the continent. Now, we also have a policy to ensure that the stronger become the strongest. And that is where our import to export policy becomes essential. How does that work? Well, the government is currently engaging with importers in Nigeria who are from Anambra to consciously transit from being importers. There are importers in Anambra who are importing up to 100 containers every week. Some do 100 in a month. And they have been doing the same business for about 10, 20 years. And this government has come in with a deliberate, purposeful policy to assure that we enable them to transit from being importers to manufacturers for export. And to that extent, we are engaged with big development finance institutions like Afrexim Bank that has federal funds for the purposes of export to enable them set up businesses within the structures that we are creating in Anambra State. And what are those structures? That is where our industrial parks come into being, where our export processing zones come into being, where our oil and gas free zones come into play, where the pharmaceutical emporiums come into play. So what we are doing in terms of the big policy strands that you're hearing is that we're directly engaged with our businesses in Anambra, both through the organized private sectors such as Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, through the Chambers of Commerce, and other associations to ensure that we embed them in the program of government. Now, in respect to the delivery of the industrial parks, the export processing zones, and the industrial clusters, and the industrial cities, we are reaching out and will be doing so in a sustainable way, going forward with development institutions around the world, through some of the commercial embassies that are in Nigeria, to get their involvement and to be able to draw down on funds that are dedicated to industrial development and infrastructure development in Africa. We want the world to come to Anambra State to develop, to invest in industrial development and to serve Africa from Anambra So our benchmark for the implement is global in nature. It is because we are the developers that are not just going to be serving Anambra, not just going to be serving Nigeria or ECOWAS, but industries that have full advantage of the Africa Free Trade Area of billion people and $4 trillion market size. That is our goal. And we're happy to have institutions like Afro-Exim Bank and other commercial banks that have a presence across Africa being part of this program, which will be unfolded in March of next year by His Excellency, Mr. Governor, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, CFR. Thank you. I'm sure that in the panel discussion that will unfold in the next minute, we are able to give you a lot more insight into what is happening. But I have a 54-page slide presentation that gives you everything you need to know about the industrial agenda. And it will be sent to you. Once you have registered and your details is out there, be sure that you receive it in your mail or on WhatsApp. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner. Can I give him another big round of applause for setting the tone perfectly for what will be panel discussion. Ladies and to help us moderate this panel, I'm going to be calling on someone who has vast experience in the private sector. She's worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers, worked at IHS Tower in the Middle East, and is an MBA holder from the prestigious Lagos Business School. She's currently the Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning in Anambra State. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Chiamaka Nake.
Governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, Mr. Deputy Governor, I'll let existing protocols. I'll be moderating my name is Chiamaka Nake. I'll be moderating the panel on industrial parks and special processing zones, special economic zones in Anambra State. And this is in consideration as pathways for our industrialization agenda. With me on this panel are I think I need to call them up now. First, I'll have to call on Mr. Ruben Bamidele, National Program Officer, UNIDO, that's United Nations Development Organization. Please join us. Sir Innocent Uze, a director at NEBZA. NEBZA is Nigeria Export Processing Zone Authority. Please join us on the panel. Mr. Don Ebebu, MD CEO of Tiger Foods. Then Lady Ada Chukwudozie, the chairperson, Anambra Ebony and Enugu Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Before they make their way up, I'd like to reemphasize that our purpose for this panel is actually to identify, to discuss the relevance of industrial parks and special processing zones as a pathway, as pathways to driving our industrialization agenda. In the few presentations we've had, we already identified our vision remains to build a livable and prosperous smart megacity, an axis for sustainable prosperity. And I know we had also highlighted our 5 solution agenda under the industrialization and economic transformation agenda. That is actually where we're looking to industrialize Anambra. And industrial parks and special processing zones, economic zones are actually the pathways we are considering. And what we're going to do today is actually to discuss the relevance of this pathways and see how Anambra State can optimally benefit and also to help us fast track and also minimize the learning curve as we embark on this journey. Thank you so much, panelists. And I don't know if you can quickly introduce yourself. We have 25 minutes to do this, and we believe we can actually have some fruitful conversation within the time. So if you can quickly just your name, so we can quickly make this happen. Please, settle.
To do what?
Your name, please.
Okay, my name is Dr. Mendele. I work for UNIDO.
I'm Sir Innocent Okudelu Zechi. I represent processing. I'm a director.
Don Ebube Ogu, the MD of Tiger Foods Limited.
My name is Lady Ada Chukwudozie, GED of Dozie Group and the Chairman Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, covering Anambra, Enugu, and Ebonyi states. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, panelists, and also Anambra State is grateful that you made out time to be here. My first question will go to Mr. Ruben, and that will be, as you heard me say, we are hoping that Anambra State to be an African new axis for sustainable prosperity. We drive sustainable prosperity with industrialization.
Okay, thank you very much. Industrialization generally has been seen to have a relationship with economic development, industrial establishment of the manufacturing sector, which is driven by innovation and supportive infrastructure, can promote sustainable prosperity. Now, to engender this in Anambra State, it will be good to develop viable policies, industrial policy, and then strengthen institutions that can help to promote sustainable prosperity. Now, the industrial policy is not just one that is anchored on productivity and economies of scale, but one that will create the necessary shared prosperity for the state in terms of using the available resources within Anambra State, in terms of raw materials in the agri sector. We know how strong Anambra State is also in the area of automotive sector, but also in the use of human resources, particularly by anchoring on women and youth to drive industrialization. So apart from the shared prosperity via the policy also has to look in the direction of promoting competitiveness in such a way that goods and services that are produced in this sector in the state will be affordable, the cost of production has to be brought low, and in doing this, there will be need to galvanize the support of the private sector, bring in the international financial institutions, as we have heard from His Excellency the Governor before. And thirdly, the policy has to be one that safeguards the environment. We must be contributing to the net zero. We must promote circularity in production in the manufacturing sector. We must ensure that the environment is not jeopardized. And of course, there will be need to strengthen institutions and knowledge through this sector to be able to get the needed prosperous state anchored by the industrialization of the state. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think you've clearly stated that we must have a policy, and the policy we need to have a clear plan on how to optimize the limited resources we have. Thank you so much. That's well taken. The next question goes to Sir Innocent Uzechi, and this is actually critically on the industrial parks. Right, so we are asking, what's the benefit of industrial parks? And Anambra State is looking to have the license by first quarter 2024. how can you support us in ensuring that we realize this vision by next year?
Thank you, moderator. The benefits of special economic zones and how NEBSA can help. If you are looking for the benefits of free trade zones or special economic zones, just ask Dubai how they started. Ask the Chinese how they started. Ask Mauritius. But we may not cease to go beyond Nigerian shores. Within Nigerian enclave, some states have made the free trade zone scheme and have propelled their economy massively. Lagos, Ogun, even Kano. In Kano, what we have in Kano is a public zone, but the state government has so encouraged that federal government zone and is thriving very well. In Ogun State, in that particular one free zone in Ogun State, the Chinese will bear me witness, there are over 55 up and running companies in that small enclave. So the free trade zone scheme with the federal government incentives attached to it is the way to go. Many of us rush to Dubai, but many of us do not know that Dubai started as a free trade zone, and that's how what the economy they use to propel, the scheme they use to propel their economy. How can NEBSA help? NEBSA can help in various ways, and we've been helping the states and stakeholders that come forward. In fact, my MD is a professor. He sends his regards that he's not physically here. When he's come back from the New Delhi trip, of course, we will get in touch and we'll let the state know what it takes. The free zone scheme has been run for over 30 years in the country. We have our experiences. Some have succeeded, some have also failed. So we'll let you know why those that failed, so that you don't make the mistake they made. One of those mistakes, and I want to emphasize, is this. Insulate the free zone scheme from politics. We had a visionary governor from the South. I will not mention his name. And things were running very well. 8 years after he left office, all the good policies he initiated had gone into comatose. I want to appeal to a visionary leader we have in Anambra State now. Craft your programs in such a way that they will outlive your tenure. Because that even if your success comes from the same party, our experience is that most people go for what they call legacy projects and abandon the good things that their predecessors have started. And that is the bane of our development in this country. So as you think about having a free trade zone scheme in Anambra, please ensure. I'm happy that the Afrexim Bank lady mentioned Anambra Economic City. They don't, in addition to their pronouncements, Afrexim Bank, you will not get a drawdown if they discover that you are not getting it well. So for her to mention Anambra Economic City, where they have given them drawdown, that means Anambra. The previous administration in Abia State got it right. Please take a look, because you may not take what I tell you as a regulator. Go to those who have succeeded. Anambra City, they have not done groundbreaking ceremony, but they have gone far in putting the round pegs in round holes. I will advise, also in Lagos State, the Lekki Free Trade Zone, the Chinese are here. They are the one running that place. How is Lagos participating and allowing them to, so that everybody, and you know what is happening? From my experience, most of the zones that are very successful, if you look critically, the people that are running the show there, some of them are from Anambra State. The Dangote refinery is in a free trade zone. Yeah. Dangote refinery is in a free trade zone. A year before the commission of that refinery, the man who piloted that scheme is from Anambra, but somehow God took his life. So he did not succeed. In Ogun State, one of the actors of the free trade zone in Ogun State that is surviving is from Anambra. In NEBSA, you have up to 3-4 people at the directorate level who are from Anambra State. So this is an opportunity for you to leverage on the free trade zone scheme to forward your economy. That is much I would know now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That's quite insightful. I think the point on we are clear on what that NEBSA is out to support Anambra State, and also the sustainability of projects is very important, and I think you've clearly laid that out. Thank you so much. I think the next is to Mr. Don Ibebu, the MD of Tiger Foods. Just to mention, we know that you're a guru when it comes to exporting and also letting some of the products you produce to the world. The question will be, what do you think the federal government and the state government need to do to ensure, to enable the environment for ease of operation for private sectors in this regard?
Thank you, moderator. I think the governor gave justice to this question when he spoke some minutes ago. So whatever I'm going to be saying will be resting on some of the points raised by the governor. You told the vision of these industrial parks when you spoke some few minutes back. I don't think there is any investor or any industrialist in this room that will not be happy to move to this next stage with you. But let me come in from an investor's point of view. Regulatory policy of these industrial parks more made attractive to the private sector. And to do that, the private sector must be in the know of what you are planning to do or the kind of regulations you want to roll out. The idea should be to attract the private sector. Whatever benefit the government is going to get will be much later. But this time around, whatever regulation that will be in place should be able to be an attraction to the private sector. And it is the reason why the private sector should be in the formative stage of making these regulations. Let me also mention the issue of being the chief marketer of industries in the country, in Anambra State. When you visited Tiger Foods, you also mentioned that. And it is instructive for us to know that it is a very key role that we are taking. Every fact with a lot of going in there with a lot of friends. It is not a child's play. And it has to trickle down to the rest of the government functionaries. A station whereby if you open the newspapers or the televisions or social media, you see government functionaries visiting burial ceremonies, child dedications. They need to begin to re-engineer their thinking and begin to visit industries in their localities. And permit me to also borrow from some of the two ways you frequently used here about being intentional and deliberate. Let it be the chief marketer of every single product and services we are making in Anambra State. That way, we all become the chief marketer of each and every one of us. It is a very good incentive for an existing investor and a prospective investor. Let us also look at the skilled workforce. There is a dearth of skilled workforce in Anambra State. And a few weeks ago, I was meant to understand that you have a project called One Youth, Two Skills. A fantastic idea. If I have to also come from the private sector point of view, I will say they are getting, maybe from the ministry. You may also have to be intentional by working with the private sector. Let us develop a program whereby at the end of the let industries a permanent workforce, because those industries may already have their own workforce already. But let them come in as an industrial attaché or people who are coming in to be mentored by these industries. By so doing, even if it is between 3 to 6 months, by so doing, we are creating a pool of skilled workforce for existing industries and then prospective industries. Infrastructure, of course, we are taking it for granted. You have started doing a lot already. But there is one aspect that I want to also bring to your attention. You mentioned the importance of Anambra State within the geographical business zone of the country. But there is something that we are no longer seeing. because the public parks are shrinking. People are deliberately reducing the public parks, and that's why it is becoming a little bit difficult for you to have trailer parks in Anambra. They are no longer there. If I need about 50 trailer trucks in Onitsha today, I may have to move over to Asaba to go and get that. And that used to be the biggest advantage Onitsha was offering to the country, because from Onitsha, you can access any part of the country, even if you need 100 trucks, 200 trucks within 1 hour. It is no longer happening. So we need to also look at that and begin to look at setting up parks for all these trucks, and then find a way to monetize them to be able to be available for us. Otherwise, if we have to go to other states to get trucks to move goods and services, it becomes a little bit of a challenge to the industrial sector. Let me stop here.
Thank you so much. That's quite insightful. The next question is to Lady Adachu. And this is asking, we have identified mixed-use industrial parks as one of the parks we are looking to develop. Are there some sectors you think we can prioritize based on your experience?
Thank you, moderator. To recommend the industries to be cited in mixed-use industrial park, which promotes inclusive, sustainable industrial development, I adopted the value chain development approach. So if I'm talking about any industry, it means that I'm talking from the scratch, from the extraction or from cultivation to the last end user. So for obvious reasons. Then certain considerations and certain analysis I made. I tried to analyze the existing industries and their sectorial distribution, with reference to the turnover and work strength. I analyze the existing resources, natural resources, and deposits in the state, with possible applications in various industries. Other considerations of comparative analysis was also based on the global market, national demand and national production, and compound annual growth rate. Then basic key consideration was on the versatility and how impactful that industry should be. I also put into consideration the fact that the raw materials need to be sourced locally, and also to efficiently harness, optimize and maximize the natural resources where we have comparative advantage in the wake of import substitution, industrialization, and export-oriented industrialization. I also took into consideration the industry that will improve, support, and boost existing industry, aligning with the focus and objective of the government in setting up the industrial park. And also, I considered the need for the industry to support the environmentally challenged state that we are living in. So I proposed a 70-20-10 distribution of the lightweight industry, heavyweight industry, and the service sector. And that service sector must include an incubation hub. And that incubation hub must have a science tech park in it in order to support the value chains in that particular industry. So on the heavy industry, from the extractive industry, I selected natural gas, because when you process and beneficiate natural gas, you will be having feedstock for power generation, which is very critical and basic, and that also will give you feedstock for fertilizer, making Anambra a fertilizer hub for the plastic, and of course the pharmaceutical industry. Also, I looked at the crop production, so agro-based industries. I selected cassava because it has 21 derivatives for export, and also the byproducts of cassava can be applied to various sectors of the industry, like food and beverage, wood, pulp and paper, textile, and so. So I also selected the bamboo industry because bamboo has a lot of economic and environmental values. Bamboo is famed to be an air purifier and a soil conservation. It's famed to have air purifier and soil conservation capabilities. Okay. Also, this bamboo has a strong tensile strength, even stronger than steel, with 28,000 pounds per inch, steel that has 23,000 pounds per each. Also, this same bamboo can be applied in various industries. It's very versatile. It can be applied to the textile, wood as a substitute, to chemical, to pharmaceuticals, because the leaves have it's very potent, and is the fastest growing tree on planet Earth. Then I also selected, of course, our oil palm and coconut palm trees for their economic values and various applications to the various sectors. Then finally, on the livestock, I selected poultry for some obvious reason. Outside the fact that it can be applied to the food industry, but the dry egg powder is one that is about 95%, more than 95% imported. So the demand deficit is about 95 or 96%, and the local production can about 4%, and most of the industries are domiciled in the West. So we can look into that as a livestock. Of course, permit me to reiterate that for the bamboo industry, you can imagine that all the toothpicks, or most of the toothpicks that we even use on your dining table, are all imported. So Anambra State can be a hub that can be producing toothpicks. Of course, you have kaolin, you have silicates. Those kaolin can be deployed in cosmetics, pharmaceuticals equally, and then the silicates and the iron ore can be considered for the motor vehicle. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I see that our panelists have a lot to say, but we are running out of time. I think we're supposed to actually go another round, but we really can't do it. We are way behind schedule. So we'll just take one question from the audience. I think we have one person to ask a question.
Mr. Governor, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Emmanuel Obiora. My question is, I have listened to all questions right from the onset, and I realize that in as much as we have not considered the situation we have in Nigeria today, vis-a-vis the fact that we have a lot of challenges in terms of being able to sustain market shares, that one of the things that has crippled most companies is that they are not able to sustain a market share in this challenging environment. So the question is, if we have to develop a strategy that should be able to circumvent the current challenges we have with the Western manufacturing, the dumping ground we have, with the presence of also our Southeast. Okay, what I'm saying is can you hear now? If we have to take cognizance of the fact of the problems we have in Nigeria now, with relation to the shares of companies in terms of marketability of products, because you can produce and fill your warehouses, but if you're not able to sell and make profit to sustain your company, you are virtually going to go bankrupt after a while. And the challenging is now very, very tough. So how do we now put strategies together to be able to circumvent these challenges we have right now? For example, if you go to China and bring in products here, those products will actually, you can be able to make more profit from them compared to the ones you manufacture locally. The issue is just economic of scale. So now, with this challenging environment, you have the Chinese, you have the Indians, they are all manufacturing, competing in the same market. Definitely, there are two industrial approach. You can manufacture something you want to export. But if you manufacture something you want us to consume here, then it means that the money actually will not stay here. So the problem is, how do you, I don't know, you're not getting what I'm asking. How do you, can I use the number?
The mic is echoing, so we're struggling to hear you. It's echoing, so we can't hear it very well. So we can hear you if you use your ordinary voice, but then just make it very brief so we move.
Now, can you hear me very well? Yes. Now what I'm saying is that the present challenges we have. Hello? Is it better now? Okay, what I'm saying is that if you manufacture products and they stay in your warehouses and you are not able to sell them, they will eventually expire in your warehouses. You've not made anything. But if you manufacture and you're able to sell, make profit and break even, then you can even think of expanding and then you're sustainable. In the present situation we find ourselves now, where you have importers, people importing from Western world manufacturing, India's manufacturing, Chinese manufacturing here. Most of this money, the wealth created, are not staying here. They must be taken out of the country. So we have challenges. The challenges we have is that you can't access the forex because it's high. So how do you be able to develop a strategy that will enable us to be able to have confidence that can survive the test of time?
Okay.
That's the question. Otherwise, we can talk about how do they manufacture, make profit, sustain themselves.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
His question has actually led to the things I would have loved to say, many other things I would have loved to say, but there is no time. To the forward-looking governor, as you want to start this program, concentrate on products that you already have demand in Anambra and within the Southeast states. Because like he said, if you are targeting export and you manufacture and bureaucracy makes it difficult for that export. For instance, in organizing this program, where are the customs, except if they are in Mufti? Where are the Nigerian Customs Service? Where is the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission? Where is the Nigerian Export Promotion Commission? And what is the synergy between Nigerian Anambra Investment and Protection Agency and these other regulators? So you need them. You need to bring them on board at this planning stage. So to answer his question directly, the free zone scheme offers you that incentive. One, importations into the free trade zone scheme import duty free. All importations into the free trade zone scheme are import duty free. And export from the free trade zone scheme to the Nigerian customs territory is also import duty free if the raw material were taken from the customs territory. The only thing you pay duty if you're exporting from the free zone into the Nigerian economy is that original import duty for you. So you have many advantages in citing a free trade zone scheme in Nigeria, a free trade zone in Nigeria. One, all your importation into that zone will be free, and you have opportunity to satisfy the local market and pay the small duty. Again, you discover that in Nigeria, there is what we call import prohibition list. Every year, the Nigerian Customs Service and the Federal Ministry of Finance comes up with what they call import prohibition. What, for whatever reason, cannot be imported into Nigeria. The free zone scheme in Nigeria is structured in such a way that those items on the Nigerian import prohibition list can now be brought into Nigeria from the free trade zone scheme upon the addition of only 35% value, while they are being processed or assembled in the free trade zones. So enormous opportunity to solve that problem exists in the free trade zone scheme. Thank you so much.
Before we leave, let's just take one message, a 1 minute message to other panelists so we can call it a day. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Within the framework of the UN Sustainable Development Partnership Framework, UNIDO can bring some support to Anambra State in terms of what the state is planning to do by providing technical assistance for feasibility studies and master plans development, the bidding process in terms of bid specifications, launching of the bids, evaluation of the bids to the point of selecting the contractor that the state is interested in. We can provide support in the area of renewable energy development within the parks and the special economic zones. As an agrarian state, we can do a lot in the area of biomass power generation. We did a feasibility study for rice husk to electricity in Eboyin for 5 megawatts. We did 27 megawatts of Oguaundo from sawdust in the sawmill clusters. We can also generate electricity through flowing rivers within the state that can power these special economic zones and industrial parks. For as long as the rivers or dams have good head and high flowing rate, power can be generated to support these parks and special economic zones. Also, we can provide technical assistance to capacitate the MSMEs, particularly through what we call our LIFE program, Learning Initiative for Entrepreneurs. We can also provide support to enhance the quality of what is produced. Inventories pile up when there are no buyers for the goods and services. And for the market, the standard and the quality must be very high. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we can't go further. Thank you so much. I'll be discussing getting other information from you. Thank you so much for your time. We really can't go further than this. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to that panel for that great conversation. Let's give them another big round of applause. And to our passionate questioner who also jumped on stage to contribute, we thank you. But hopefully we do better in the following panels to come. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be calling on someone else to give us a very quick remark. They're very important partners of Nigeria and continue to work with development with regards to states like Nigeria and, of course, Anambra State in particular. From the World Bank, I'd like to call on the country director for the World Bank to give us a quick remark. Please put your hands together for Mr. Shubhan Chowdhury.
Thank you. Thank you, Excellency. Good afternoon, everyone. Please permit me to stand on existing protocols. I will be very quick. I think for two reasons. One, I know that there are many other things to happen later on today, but also because between what His Excellency himself said, what we heard from the MD of ANSIPA, what we heard from the Commissioner of Industry, and from just this panel, what I was asked to talk about, which is, how do you unlock and develop financing for bank investments, to create the kinds of jobs that Anambra's youth want. The textbook version, I think, is very clear. Bankable means that private investors see a commercially viable, but not just commercially viable, commercially attractive opportunity to set up operations or to expand operations. Yes, it is always good if there is an added social dimension to it, but let's be real. At the end of the day, it has to be commercially attractive. So the textbook version or the technical version is quite clear. You have to think about, okay, what's the competitive of locating in Anambra? A pharmaceutical firm has the choice of setting up a plant in Anambra or Ogun. What's the calculation that goes on? Part of it will be about proximity to market, so you have to define the market, as we heard. Part of it has to do with the infrastructure that's available. So this is why it's very key to hear about the roads, the power, the digital connectivity. That's the kind of infrastructure that's key for a whole range of economic activity. Part of it, and a big part of it, often not appreciated, is the clarity and consistency in the policies, regulations that they will have to deal with. That certainty above all is key. So the textbook version says that, and then sometimes an opportunity might be viable with a little bit of an added kind of incentive or some de-risking or some subsidization of the upfront capex so all of that, the textbook version is quite clear, and I hope, and certainly what I heard this morning is that in terms of implementing the textbook version, Anambra has gone about it in exactly the right way. Providing, thinking about the complementary investments, informing potential investors about what Anambra has to offer in terms of competitive, in terms of its people, in terms of its, kind of key location as a transit hub between different parts of the country. And also I heard about, the dynamic entrepreneurial spirit of Anambrians who are flourishing elsewhere. But once we move on from the textbook version, and then this is, I think, key, as I think about all the countries I've worked in, and even all the states I've visited in Nigeria, it's true certainty that, yes, all of this will be there and will continue to be there. It's not just a promise, it's not just talk. It comes from intentional, and I'm choosing the words intentionally, intentional, deliberate focus on getting things done, right? And then that means, not just talking and flagging off initiatives, but following through in making sure that there's reality on the ground, that the clarity is not just something that's talked about, but it's there and it's backed up. And that's where, you go from the textbook world to the real world. Governor Soludo, I once asked him, because I'm an economist myself, I said, Your Excellency, what persuaded you to leave academia and the world of policy and go into politics? And he said, Shubham, it's in the academia, we are like philosophers. We opine, we talk a lot, but we are never called on to deliver. In the world of politics, In the real world, you have to deliver, you have to fix the plumbing. And so let me leave it with that last thing, that the thing that you notice when you know, country to country or subnational to subnational, the difference in whether, to what extent the textbook version needs to be done gets translated, it comes down to a very simple thing, which is the quality of the leadership at the top and the focus. And by all accounts, here in Anambra, you have that. So I think more than anything else, that should attract investment. Your Excellency, this will be, I think the director from NEPSA mentioned it, how do you lock this in so that it's not just during your term, but it sustains? And one of the ways, the best ways of locking this in, again, globally, is something I heard the MD, CEO of Tiger Foods saying, have the private sector involved as much as possible so that they are involved from the outset, but also in kind of the implementation thereafter. So industrial parks, hand it over to, you know, don't rely on a government agency to manage those. Get professional management of those and make it itself a kind of a commercially viable or at least a cost kind of center of its own that can continue. So let me leave you with that, and it's been a real honor and privilege to have been here and hear about all your plans and hopefully see some of them get translated into action shortly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Give him another round of applause. Thank you very much. Of people who are to what Anambra is ready to do in the coming months and years. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot that Anambra State has to offer. There's a reason why we are number one of business in this country. It's something we do very, very naturally. There's a reason why we're number one in education, because we have the brains to support it as well. And I hear now that we're also the capital of gas. So human and natural resources know no bounds in this state. And it's just the beginning of what will be a great journey in the years to come. Once again, please put your hands together for this beautiful state, the light of the nation, Anambra State. We're going to be moving on to something very symbolic, but also very, very key to today's event. It's time for us to sign a few memorandums of understanding, and I'm going to be calling on our chief who is very happy to do this with us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as I welcome on stage His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, as he joins us on stage to sign very important memoranda of understanding here with us this afternoon. Thank you very much, sir. Whenever you attend an event with the governor, you know that he not only acts as a special guest, he's also really the chief host, making sure that everything is done to the T. You're very welcome, sir. You're welcome. And I'd now like to call on our Oga here today, Obansipa. I told you he likes to hide. Please welcome on stage Mark Okoye to help us through this. Put your hands together for him.
Thank you very much, Mr. Governor. All protocols duly observed. We'll run through this very quickly. We're going to be starting with Dr. George Wagu, the concessionaire of the Onitsha River Port. We've been working with him, discussing with him over the last 3-4 months, and we want to today sign an agreement where Anambra State government, with the governor represented, will be supporting, giving the project all the support to ensure the dredging of the River Niger is achieved as soon as possible, because Onitsha River Port must take off. Please, George Wangu, where are you? Just come up, please. Engineer Paul Enidom and Chief Christian Ikebudu of the Neni Water Scheme, the Public-Private Community Partnership, please prepare to come on stage. Can Chinedu Ogwebu of Oma Motors, who's coming on board as an anchor for the AUU Automotive Industrial Park, and also a co-promoter with the state, can he come on board also and be prepared to come up? A round of applause, please. Please, the Neni community, represented by Engineer Paul Enidom and Chief Christian Ikebudu. For those who don't know what we're doing here, Mr. Governor in his manifesto, he's here. Mr. Governor in his manifesto promised that he will expand PPP to include the community. In the Anambra, we have great people who have done amazing things around the world, all looking for ways to contribute back to their... Yes, I know they are here, sir. All looking for ways to contribute to developing their community. So this is a PPCP, where the state, the private sector, and the community, Neni community, are going to be providing water, potable water via pipe-borne water to over 2,500 households and companies in Neni. This is the first time we've done this. Thank you. Is Oma Motors ready? After Oma Motors, we'll be signing with NKO Agro Park. Can you please come here? Come on board. The electrification company also get ready and come to the stage. Can Ebele Enunwa of the Sundry Markets Limited also come to the stage? Can CPCS Transcom Limited come to the stage? And can Mahindra also prepare to come to the stage? Oma Motors, please come up. Oma Motors. Oma Motors, Oma Motors. Where are the documents, please? Very quickly, please, we have no time. Very quickly, please. Yes, come, yes. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Go, please. The next person, Okay, can you just... NKO, please come up. This is Dr. Cordelia Udo. For the last 3-4 years, she's been trying to get her investment into Anambra, a plastic surgeon in America based in New Jersey. She wants to make quite a very sizable investment in agriculture to build an agro institute, also build to export back to America and other European markets. Thank you very much, Cordelia. Omamoto, sorry. But as part of the agreement, she gets 50 hectares of land on lease for 25 years for her agro play, and also support with the acquisition of another 70 hectares for the development of an agro institute, similar to IITA, but in Anambra this time, Bioya Anambra in Anambra State. So everybody in diaspora who's watching, Anambra is open for your investment. And we are ready to partner. The government of Governor Soludo is ready for partnerships. Omamoto's apologies. Yes, sir. Mr. Governor, while Oma Motors is here, the parent company of Oma Motors is also Kojo Motors, the famous Kojo Motors from Anambra, from Mibuku. They already have a mini assembly plant in Ibuku, but now they are coming on board to support the state, work closely with us on the AUU Automotive Industrial Park as co-promoters and anchors. Can GVE get ready also? Thank you very much. GVE, please. Ifeanyi Rajaka is also a great son of Anambra from Agwata local government. He owns one of Nigeria's largest renewable energy companies. Over 30 communities in the north and parts of the south are powered by his solar panels. When the US government visited Nigeria, they visited his site where he's taking the entire Wuse market giving them an interconnected grid. In Anambra, in the next 9 months, we'll be taking about 6 communities in Anambra West where we have underserved and unserved populations with a 2 megawatt solar installation. They will have uninterrupted power supply, courtesy of GVE and Anambra State Government Partnership. Thank you very much. So sustainability is also very important to the governor. Oka Shopping Mall, please. We have Ebele Enunwa. Many of you already know him. He's behind the famous Kilimanjaro and behind Market Square. Over 70, 80 billion naira of top line. He is committing to finish, continue, complete, and commission the Oka Shopping Mall in the next 15 months. So by December next year, we'll be commissioning the Oka Shopping Mall at the old Ikenga Hotel grounds. He apologizes for his absence. He sent his executive director. He had an emergency last night and couldn't make it down. And this adds obviously to the governor's livability, urban regeneration concept, and captured in his manifesto. So it's not just policy, but there's also CS Transcom Limited. Be prepared to come up. CPC. Governor said that is to bring signing and Rail Consultancy, CPCS Transcom, they have 7 months to give Mr. Governor a rail master plan for Anambra State to connect Oka, Onitsha, Ekulobia, and Newi, and some of our major projects. We believe that in 4 years, Mr. Governor is confirmed that we will be breaking ground and completing the first route of that rail project. So thank you very much. Ikenga mixed use, no, not Ikenga, the Anambra mixed use industrial city. Mahindra. Yes, he said. Narayanan, the president of Mahindra, but I understand that the name of their company is changing now to Atelier Consulting Engineers. They flew in last night from India, just like our colleagues, our partner CPCS. They flew in from Senegal and Paris. So just like CPCS, Mahindra have done amazing work on the African continent and globally. In fact, every time you engage with UNIDO and ask for support on feasibility studies or master plans, they typically refer you to Mahindra. With the Afro-Exims, the AFDBs of this world, they work with Mahindra. Anambra is working with the best of the best. They have 6 months maximum to deliver a master plan for the Anambra Industrial City project. After that, then we'll be concluding financing. We have with the next organization that we'll be signing with. Yes. Can we please welcome the president of Afro-Exim, represented by the executive vice president, Kanayo Uwani. I understand that her nickname in Afro-Exim is Madam Projects. No. There are 3 components of this project, or MOU. The first is to support the state on project preparation, help us get all our major infrastructure. That's one. The second is with us on the financing of this project. On our side, in the MOU, is roughly around $200 to $250 million. But we can see that from her presentation, she has doubled that and told us that it's going to be at least $500 million once these projects are ready. So that's the second part. Then the third part, obviously, is to collaborate with the Afro-Exim on subnational government twinning. So what are those great concepts or policies that other African cities have that we can learn from, and what can they learn from us? So this is a very important one for us. Can Nimeth, which one? This is number 1. Yeah, can Nimeth International Pharmaceuticals also prepare to come on? The next 4 signings will all be anchors that are signing on for the pharmaceutical training hub in Ogboji. So just organize it. Is Nimet ready? No, sir. No, just wait. When they come, they'll come down. Sorry about that. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir. 4 anchors on Anambra from. 4. Yeah. So, Nimet, please. Nimet. Yes. For those who don't know, it's the former Pfizer in Nigeria, now under the name Nimeth. They will be signing as a major anchor to come on board on the Anambra Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Hub in Ogboji, which also has its mock-up and prototype outside in the exhibition foyer. They want to move and build a pharmaceutical manufacturing plant in Ogboji. A key part of getting these projects viable is also identifying who the off-takers are. So this is one of 4 who we'll be signing with today. You can. Can Dozie Group prepare to come up? Group represented by Lady Ada Chukwudozie. While she's getting ready, can Green Life Pharmaceuticals also prepare to come on? And the Association of Industrial Pharmacists of Nigeria. Dozie, come in. For those who don't know, Dozie is one of the major industrialists that we have in Anambra. Their facilities are sited at the Onitsha Harbour Industrial layout, where you have Sab Miller, you have Cristoral, you have a lot of other mega industries in Anambra State. They're now pivoting and also investing in a pharmaceutical plant, and they are working closely with the state, keying in as an anchor in the Anambra Pharmaceutical Hub project. Is Green Life ready? Green Life? Oh, yeah. And the Association of Industrial So for many people who had wondered why MOU signings were not happening under the Soludo administration, he put all of us to work. Everybody was working extremely hard because this for us is that platform. We want to showcase all the investment opportunities, the deals being signed, the projects being executed. Can Green Life come? Green Life. Just come. Green Life Pharmaceuticals, a major player in the pharmaceutical sector in Anambra State. They'll be looking now to obviously build a pharmaceutical manufacturing plant, also in the Oboji Pharmaceutical Hub in Mr. Governor is getting India Anambra to start investing in Anambra. For those of you who've come for the summit, Anambra has been peaceful, Anambra has been safe, Anambra is open for business, Anambra has access to the governor, his office, in the Anambra and the community. Once you talk business, Mr. Governor always says, money has no tribe, it has no color, it has no race. Can the association also come up? Association of Industrial Pharmacists of Nigeria, please. Naib. One more. Yes, one more. That's it. So once we're done with the last signing, I will pass the mic back to Mr. Governor for a few remarks, and then we will continue with the panel on unlocking bankable infrastructure projects. But please, as the panelists choose to come up, as the moderators come up, it is 20 minutes maximum. Moderators have a when you're there, you can choose to end the panel, you can choose to keep it going. So if the comments are lasting a bit too long, just make the conversation focused and straight to the point. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Nigeria. Thank you, India Anambra. Thank you, the international audience.
We've just finished signing, how many? Mike? How many? Mike? 13. Yes, we've just finished signing 13 of them. And they told me before we sign any of this, we've done the due diligence of it. The master plan will be out, the rail master plan, and the study and the master plan will be out. Pretty soon, the industrial master plan to be out. Then the investors, those who are putting in their money, we're expecting that by this time next year, when we meet again, we should be able to give you a progress report on all of this and many more that we will sign in the coming weeks. Those that we have signed already, 7 estate developers, 7 estate developers have been signed on to develop various sub-cities of Awka. The new Awka, where we call the new Awka, beginning with the Millennium Estate down, we have signed another 7 of them to make them a total of 8 new sub-cities that will make what we call the new Awka city. For the ADB, Afrexim Bank, I was telling our sister, because what I signed here now, I saw the dotted lines of a commitment of about $200 million. So I said, when I am sleeping tonight, I will be dreaming of the $200 million. And when we are going to unlock this, because I know the $200 million will even unlock several billions to come. And we take up the issue of the diaspora bond, the $250 million diaspora bond, where we'll get to see where all of this, to launch this, as well as I'm sure the next panel will be discussing the issue of financing. Quite a lot of a mix of financing options that we'll have. But with this now, by the time we meet next year, we will give you a progress report on where about 13 today, plus 7 we signed before, that's 20 already, and we will give you a progress report then on where we are with them and where we are with regards to these industrial cities that were the pharmaceutical industrial city, the automotive industrial park, and the mixed-use industrial city. I want to thank you very much, and to say to the rest of Anambra who are still itching and preparing their projects, once you are ready, once you can show us the color of the money, come. If you are ready with the project and it is bankable and you are still thinking about the money thing, maybe we can walk hand in hand with you to the financiers and we can talk. Thank you very much and God bless you.
I don't know if you understand how big a deal and how important what just happened on this stage is. We just heard His Excellency say that at least 13 agreements were signed worth over $200 million. That is money coming into the economy of Anambra State. If nothing else is achieved today, I think that is testament to all of the great things that are to come. So please, put your hands together for the Executive Governor of Anambra State, wherever you are, please. That is no mean feat at all. Thank you very much, and we're looking forward to all these great projects being executed in the months and years to come. We're going to move on now to our next panel of discussion, and it's focusing on infrastructure practices, finance, energy. And I'm going to be calling on our moderator from Stren and Bland Partners. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Ozioma Ago as she comes up here to moderate this session. Give her a big round of applause, please. Thank you very much, and she'll take it from here.
Mr. Governor, all protocols duly observed. I will quickly go on to call the other members of the panel so we can start. Ifatu Onyedeme, who is the Honorable Commissioner for Finance, Anambra State. Please come onto the stage, sir. Next is Mr. Kalim Shah, the Senior Country Manager for International Finance Corporation, IL. Welcome to the stage. Next, we have Mr. Michael Nzewi, the Managing Director and the Chief Executive Officer for Cardinal Stone. Sir, please come onto the stage. You're welcome. And the last but not the least is the Vice President of Africa Finance Corporation, Financial Institutions, no other person than Mr. Sam Vese. Sir, please come onto the stage. You're welcome once again. So we'll go straight into it. Today we are going to be discussing. Thank you. Today we're going to be discussing how to unlock financing to fund robust and sustainable infrastructure development in Anambra. And by way of introduction, there is a recent data that was released by the World Bank. And that data underscored the infrastructure gap that we currently face in Nigeria, requiring an estimated value of about $3 trillion to resolve. And the nation currently scores about 48.33% out of 100, which actually highlights a significant deficit in infrastructure. So while we recognize the fact that Anambra is seriously driving industrial revolutions, by the passing of Mr. Governor and his current administration, we are here to discuss some of the ways and some of the strategies that we can adopt in the state to actually invite more private sector partnership and more funding for sustainable projects. So I hope you enjoy this panel. Thank you very much. So my first question will be for you, Mr. Ifatu Onejeme. Could you please explore for us some of the innovative financing models that we can adopt in the state? And while you do that, you may also want to give us one or two case studies, successful case studies that we can look to adopt. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think just to put some perspective to it, the state had taken baby steps in the past to seek for finance for some of our projects. We've used certain structures during those baby step period. For example, we have successes with giving land and making small equity contribution by cash with our partners to set up various businesses. You think about Sab Miller that happened in Onitsha, or Oka Millennium City that is being developed, or Linden Farms, which is the biggest poultry business in Southeast. We didn't have poultry at all in Southeast. That slaughters about 300,000 chickens a year and produces 6,000 crates of eggs a day. So these are impressive things we have done. But for the first time, the state has a clear plan, the Vision 2070 plan, which is a 50-year plan, is something that has now focused all the energies of this administration and subsequent administrations to develop in the state in a very concise manner. We didn't have that before. And this is the first administration of the 50-year plan. So I think that somebody has to, whether after our governor leaves office, somebody can change the trajectory in which the state is going. I think it's more difficult now. I would suggest that maybe Mr. Speaker and members of the House may consider if a bill is necessary to be passed so that the 50-year plan becomes a law of the state. I say that because in 2015, I was privileged to lead our delegation to Thailand, and I was surprised that Thailand was so successful. And I asked them the questions because we met with their high-level people, and they said, though they've had more changes, political changes than Nigeria, they've only had one plan from the king, and that plan had been implemented throughout. So regardless of which military administration came to power, they implemented what was in the plan. Now Anambra has a 50-year plan. Regardless of what party comes into power in Anambra State, that administration that is in power should implement what's in the 50-year plan. That's the way to make sure that the state develops. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Onejeme. Refreshing to hear about how you have underscored the 50-year plan and the need to actually pass a legislature that will promote this kind of robust infrastructure development that we are looking at. Thank you very much for that insight. We'll go on to the next question for you, Mr. Shah. Could you please analyze the role of DFIs as development financial institutions in infrastructural development and how this can key into the future of Anambra?
Thank you very much. As we see from today, that there's a lot of interest from the DFI community, right? Our colleagues in AfriExim have already committed to have a lot of investment with respect to the development and then project execution. I think the main thing that has already been articulated by Shubham and others, and even by His Excellency the Governor, is project preparation. And the Governor also said specifically several times bankability. Well-prepared projects with a good understanding of the bankability, and that includes the regulatory framework that stands behind it, and to make sure there's consistency of a regulatory framework. Right? Because what we're trying to avoid, and what we have seen, as the colleague from the Free Trade Zone mentioned, when there's been sometimes a change of governor, even in the same party, you find that there's less focus and there's a change of regulatory environment that causes projects to fail. So that consistency of the business enabling environment is needed. That ability, so that, because when you invest, you're not investing for 4 years or even 8 years of a particular governor or party. You're investing for 15, 20 years. You're investing not just in this one plan, but the expansion of that plan. So the consistency of that framework needs to be there so that investors feel confident when they come in and put their money that they're investing for the long term. So I think that project preparation, that bankability, but also that business enabling environment and consistency of regulatory framework is going to be key to attracting not just DFI funding, but just investors, coming in as well as then support from other banks. The DFIs can help by providing long-term funding to potential investors, with sometimes a project preparation and stuff like this. But the key question that even a DFI will ask or any investor will ask is, can I stay in this state and do business for the next 20 years?
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Shah. I have a follow-up question for you. As someone who has cognate experience, a wealth of experience working with a DFI, and so you understand firsthand what the states must do in order, the strategy that they can actually adopt to, attract financing from IFC and other development financial institutions. Can you briefly discuss some of the strategies and what they can do to attract funding from DFIs? Thank you.
Sure. So the first thing, like I said, is bankability, right? Making sure that you have a properly prepared bankable feasibility study that you have, that's the one thing. The second thing is sustainability, as you point out. So sustainability is on several fronts, and making sure the environmental and social sustainability is there. One of the key things that we look at is the impact of climate change on your project. We have models that forecast what is going to happen in Anambra State, in particular LG, is to say that this is going to have additional rainfall or additional drought, and how are you building your project to account for that sustainability, right? And then, of course, you have other sustainability factors on governance, on corporate governance, on financial sustainability, how you're handling your books, et cetera, how you're interacting with your host communities. So sustainability and bankability is not just, okay, I produce this and I sell this, right? That's core. That's core bankability. But sustainability means how are you engaging with your external environment, your external stakeholders, including government, but including your host communities, including your partners in the supply chain, et cetera. And we tend to look at all these things, which then means that the companies need to step up their game, right? Beyond what may have been the norm before in how they've operated in a typical Nigerian environment. And we can help them. We have advisory services. Other DFIs have advisory services. You heard the colleague from UNIDO, for instance. They can provide certain supports. So there's availability, but there needs to be that willingness and that ability to see the importance of it. These kinds of factors result in you being there 20 years from now, and not that you go up and you just come back down in 5 years.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shah. I'll come to you now, Mr. Mike. We're going to be talking about PPPs, public-private partnerships. The importance of a private sector-led infrastructure development cannot be overemphasized. And I think to a very large extent, it's the crux of what we're trying to achieve here today. So can you explain how Anambra PPP's framework, what they can do to attract private sector participation?
Good afternoon, everyone. I think by way of a quick introduction, I know about Cardinal Stone. My name is Michael Nzewi, and I'm the Group Managing Director of Cardinal Stone Partners, a Lagos-based investment banking firm with assets under management in excess of 200 billion. We recently invested in a company here in Anambra State, in Linden Farms. We invested about $4.6 million in Linden Farms. So what I'll be sharing with us is really from a life experience of someone who's only where his mouth is. I'm from Nnewi in Anambra State, so also I'm a son of the soil. I think in terms of exploring how we can enhance public-private partnerships to the state, we all know about the technical or what I'll call the textbook ways of, attracting investors to PPPs, all the support you can get from the government, the regulatory frameworks, some of the things the commissioner talked about, providing land, support, and all of that. But I think I would like to spend the little time I have focusing on something very practical, which I think His Excellency the Governor had hinted on before. I think the state should really prioritize the initiative of trying to create a financing arm a financing arm for the state. And some of the ideas I have about that is, look, I think that should actually be separate from ANSIPA. ANSIPA should continue to focus on investment promotion and protection, which is our equivalent of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission. Now we need to create a very financially powerful and very strong entity or vehicle, which will then on things like product development, project development. Project developments can be very costly in a place like this. There are some of these feasibility studies we're talking about. The Rail Master Plan. To complete those feasibility studies cost millions of dollars. So it's not what individuals or even state governments should be prioritizing too much on. So we need to focus on creating this Anambra State Development Corporation, right? To build a very strong entity, which on itself is able to attract capital, is able to raise capital, to fund projects, to develop projects, to partner with private sector players, to de-risk projects to the point where they become very attractive to private sector players. And in the long term, we also need to think of how do we shield that corporation